Good evening then, ladies and gentlemen across the world. Welcome aboard to WORLD, the Legacy Division. It is myself, Jota, alongside Cal for this event. This is round number 2 of the inaugural season here in Abu Dhabi. I'm proud to be alongside you for this event. 19 drivers that are already and raring to go to represent their teams in their vision of what they feel is going to be an epic event. Cal, my co-commentator over in Tier 2, in the normal WOR tier, we race on Tuesday nights usually, but of course it is a Friday night, and some of the fastest drivers out on the field in the Xbox world are going out there, and Halo is the first person out there in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, hello everyone and good evening. I'm more than looking forward to this one tonight. I've certainly got the Friday feeling because look at this grid. We've got 19 incredibly talented drivers all going out there to represent their esports teams, represent what they stand for, and yeah, we should be in for an absolute cracker tier tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Looking forward to being alongside you for this one, as I'm looking forward to all of the people that are tuning in across the world for this World WORLD event. And of course, after the tumultuous time that was at round 1, we're hoping for what is going to be a very, very exciting round 2, as AMS Alex immediately retiring in the pit lane. He immediately not taking part in qualifying this event, representing AMS, of course, Alien Motorsport in the Haas car. But we'll take a quick on board, actually, as we go on a lap with the FGE driver of Halo going through the final corner as he now heads into what is now the new circuit, of course, because remember, we have changed the layout thanks to the new regulations of the cars and the new regulations that we're seeing across the field. We're now seeing brand new tracks come out of nowhere in this one, Abu Dhabi. Slight changes and straight on into this corner, but we're hoping it's going to make for some interesting racing, this new layout.
Yeah, definitely will. And we've seen it in real life as well as a prime example in 2021. What a race we had there, and some controversy to add to it as well, but especially in the F1 game, it's going to be really good. You know, coming into turn 5 now, there's definitely a chance to send it up the inside, and especially into that long sweeping corner out of turn 9 as well. Definitely opens up more, definitely can carry more speed into it. You can follow closer as well, and yeah, overall, very positive improvements to the track. Quite
indeed, as we're just following the Aston Martin as he heads now around the circuit, of course, and it is a particularly important lap. Of course, this is going to be the first lap that we see at this new layout, and he's keeping it very careful. Indeed, it is the Aston Martin as he will continue around his lap around the circuit as he heads into the third sector, and it is a very, very neat and tidy lap around here now. Of course, wider turn 3s. Sector 3 rather, for all of the drivers as they head round the field here. You can keep it almost flat round that corner now, and then into that final corner where he'll want to plant it as early as he possibly can. Comes across the line, he'll set the initial lap time. 1:24.2 is what we are seeing, but whether that's a good lap or not versus the rest of the field is one to decipher, and we will see, of course, throughout this qualifying session, as well as, of course, through Q2 and Q3, because it is full qualifying around here.
Yeah, exactly that is a good point to mention there. We've only got 19 racing tonight, AMS only racing with 1, and with AMS Alex with a qualifying ban, only 3 getting eliminated from this first session, which just takes the pressure off a little bit for a lot of these drivers, and it definitely boosts your odds of getting through. So I think a lap there from Halo and also from Passy is good. It's good to get a lap on the board because you probably won't need an awful lot to get through into the next session.
Absolutely on board with you on that one. Let's have a quick look around the field then. So we've got Bartek Fna leaving the pit lane for ERL. He is just about to get going for his outlap, but plenty of people already on their outlaps, including FRA Matthew and, of course, the infamous FRA Elite, who announced this week his switch over to Veloce as he becomes the newest of the drivers that are slotting out in their academy. So big well done and a big congratulations to Elite as he now starts his sights on becoming what is now, let's be considered here, potentially a professional esports driver.
Yeah, absolutely. I echo your words there. It's a tremendous achievement for what he's done. You know, he's so young as well. He's got a long road ahead of him, but yeah, it's amazing what he's done so far. And I look forward to seeing him tonight as well. He's been so dominant in the main WOR league. He was very dominant last week as well in Australia, winning the race for himself and FRA. So yeah, I wouldn't expect to see anything different tonight here at Abu Dhabi. And yeah, FRA Elite, one to look out for tonight, but also for the future.
Well, let's see how his teammate goes around the final corner, and he's just getting himself going here. It looks like FRA have decided that they want to specifically focus actually on FRA, when I say FRA, I mean FRA Matthew and Elite. The team are trying to focus their sights here at the moment on just managing their own pace at the moment, because it looks like to me neither driver want to help each other out.
Yeah, I don't think they need to either, though they've got the pace, the two of them. So yeah, it's just about getting through. As I mentioned earlier, only 17 that need to get through from this session. So drivers of their calibre, they shouldn't have too many issues. But in the end of the day, every little does help. So yeah, it's a good point, but I don't think it's essential.
Well, we'll see how the man of the moment at the moment, that's FRA Elite, is going around the final corner now, and we'll see how he handles the next set of corners, of course, as he's now got to keep it nice and tidy. Of course, as I said, this is the main centre bit of the new layout, of course, because these corners, though they may not look different to people who are not into Formula 1, massively different to drive on now. Very wide entry and exit opportunities now around here, which is offering plenty of opportunities for the drivers to get things wrong, which is only going to harm their chance all the way up until this final corner, as he'll come across the line and he'll set the initial lap time of a 23.0 before we've even really got going.
Yeah, I think that's near enough, good enough for Elite to go through already. 1.1 seconds clear of SGA, Halo and P2. So yeah, that just shows how good he is at this game, and yeah, I'm sure he'll be pretty satisfied with that lap.
Well, Matthew comes across the line and he's 8 tenths down on Elite at the moment, and I think even he has to bow down at the moment about the pace of Elite at the moment, who's looking very, very sharp indeed. We'll keep an eye out on the performance of ERL Bartek Frar at the moment, who is just now heading around the third sector. He's got to keep it nice and tidy with the number 25 Alpha Tauri, as he then heads into the final corner, and again he'll need to put the power down as early as he possibly can. Not off the circuit, very well caught, puts himself on the front row as it stands at the moment, the 23.6, so he's certainly challenging Matthew.
Yeah, very good lap there from Bartek Fraz. Just looking to see a lot of laps from a lot of drivers at the moment. Only 6 drivers set a lap time, but a long way to go. Not quite too sure how long we've got left, but definitely well over 10 minutes. So there's no rush from any driver. We've still got a majority of the grid in the pit lane as well. So yeah, I'd expect to see these times plummet down in the next few minutes.
Maybe indeed. Let's keep an eye out then on the other driver that is currently on a lap at the moment, and that is ETE Andre at the moment, who is in the Alpine. He's now just heading through into the third sector as we speak, and the new long left-hander, of course, was originally a big chicane, but I much prefer the alternative. I mean, there's so many lines you could take through that turn to really offer you the best opportunity of making potential moves, or maybe even trying to square yourself up for a move going into the stadium section. So that's certainly going to be one to watch as they head through into the final corner now, does the Alpine, as he heads across the line now. He's looking to try and get into the 24s, and he's into the high 24s at the moment, slowest of all so far, with a 24.7, a little bit more pace to find, you'd suspect.
Yeah, definitely think so, but yeah, not the end of the world. Just on board with Cypher at the moment. We'll stick on board with him, one of them who's definitely improved on this game. I remember commentating in Tier 2 this time last year, and he was a good driver, but definitely nowhere near the level he is now. So yeah, remarkable improvements from him. At the moment, I think it was P2 for him last week, so definitely be looking to build on that result, and yeah, see if he can try and challenge Elite. We've seen that a few times in the main WOR League, and it'll be interesting to see if he can do that tonight. Just coming around turn 9 does he go in the Williams, and let's just see where he can put this car coming through the right-left section underneath the stunning Yas Marino, I'd say. This section's also been slightly opened up, just making it a little bit easier. The curbs on the inside you can take now, and then your foot flat to the floor here in this corner. This right-hander's now flat out due to the new configuration, and that's pretty easy for Scyther now coming into the final corner, keeping it nice inside the fourth gear, just clipping the apex and using every inch of the track he can. He comes across line, and that is P2 at 123.4. Not too bad there from Scyther.
You know what, I echo the words that you mentioned actually about Scyther. He's been absolutely amazing to watch the last few weeks. He has improved massively, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing where the American comes throughout this season, because clearly this new generation of car, as well as of course his own ability, is working an absolute treat for the number 62 Williams, who he had a cracking performance as well in one of the other leagues as well through TPS yesterday as well. So keep an eye out on his performance throughout the season in general, I think, is going to be the key factor there. Sorry to put any pressure on you there, by the way, Cypher. We'll keep an eye out then on what's happening with Wilson at the moment. WOR Wilson in the McLaren, as he's just set his fastest first sector of anyone so far. Very quick driver last season. He was one to watch, if you remember, with the likes of WOR Alfie, as he was back then. Been very, very close teammates, them two, through a few tiers of racing. But at the moment, he's obviously without WOR Alfie, as he's now since moved on. WOR Wilson, on the other hand, looking to try and replicate his performance, and so far, it's been a bit of a shaky start, let's say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Levi Asbit there for PSR just because I'm in the P5 as well, just to add. So the Williams boys, the PSR boys looking pretty good at the moment, second and fifth. But let's not forget about those Mercedes boys as well. Racer, big spin there. The man representing WOR just losing it there on the exit of turn 9. Definitely not ideal because it looked like he was in a good lap there. But yeah, he's going to have to regroup and go again.
Yeah, that would be the teammate of WR Wilson, as you might have just seen as we went on board with Wilson. He's now heading through the final set of corners. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of the infamous corner where Nicholas Latifi crashed and obviously indirectly caused the massive controversy between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen last season. But WR Wilson will continue on with his pace and puts himself on the front row, beating Scyther by just a little bit over 700ths of a second.
Not too bad on board with Shizu Lacey at the moment down in P18. The Shizu man looking to try and get himself out of that relegation zone, but it's not to worry. He's not set a lap yet, and anything pretty representative from his pace will definitely see him pretty comfortably through it coming into the last corner now. Got a McLaren in front of him, but that won't phase him too much. Clipping that inside board, and he comes across line now. Where is it for Lacey? And it's P5. Very good lap there for the Red Bull.
Let's pop over to VSR, shall we? They've been relatively quiet so far this season, you'd have to say. They've made some relatively good signings in the background, but on the front side at the moment, they've been managing their own driver's side. And at the moment, VSR, Jack and Tudi are the boys that are representing the team at the moment, as they now head into the third sector, as Tudi comes straight into the pit lane, so he is not going to be progressing any further so far with this set of tyres. We'll see how Jack, though, does, as he now comes into the final corner, and he'll be looking to try and get himself at least into the top 10 if VSR wants a good shout at this particular event. We'll see. P3, that's definitely within the top 10 indeed, and 3 drivers all within the 23 fours.
On board with ERL Blackie now, the Alpha Tauri representing ERL, of course, coming through the final sector now, looking to try and get that Alpha Tauri well and truly into the top 15 at least for his sake. Now coming into the penultimate corner, easily flat out, as I mentioned before, 6th gear for him, just revving out a slight lift there actually, so maybe not ideal. I've definitely seen a few other drivers doing that flat out, but maybe just for confidence there for ERL Blackie as he comes across line, and it's only P12, not ideal there for ERL Blackie.
Well, Bartek Ferrara at the moment. Bart Ferrara leading the way for ERL in P5. Blackie getting into P12. Obviously, AMS Alex is not qualifying in this session, so he's definitely out of this one. But the bottom 4 will be knocked out, and as it stands at the moment, that's going to fall on ETE Andre and his teammate as well. Passy also struggling at the moment alongside the FGE boys, so they're going to be well, keeping their fingers crossed that some of their drivers will, well, it won't be a double fallout, shall we say, when M-Racer and Tudi manage to set a lap, because M-Racer and Tudi very quick drivers indeed, so we would not expect them to be in the bottom 4. So ETE and FGE will be hoping for at least a little bit of a pace improvement at some point, as we follow Andre at the moment, and he is just heading through the first sector to try and improve on his lap time, and he comes across the line in the first sector, and he is just over 0.2 of a second, but very, very wide indeed, going through the end of that onto the main straight.
Yep, I'm now on board with FGE Halo, in P13. That's very, very marginal to make if he's going to get through. But on the little thing there, because the purple middle sector, not too sure how representative that is, but if it's true, it is looking good for the man in the Aston Martin. Just coming in under the Yas Marina Hitsel, second gear, that's an interesting choice there. Third gear through, this is really slow speed, as much as we know put up. It can be painfully slow at points, especially at the end of the lap. The tyres are screaming out, but he's trying to give it his all now. Coming through penultimate corner, it's flat out in 7th gear, he's giving it his all, but maybe it was just too much there for FGE Halo. And he's spun, unfortunately. He's on for a good lap there, but maybe just wasn't to beat.
Yeah, struggling at the moment was FGE Halo again. That just adds to the worries at the moment that FGE have got at the moment, and Halo needs to get a shift on here, because it looks like to me he's actually at the pit lane entry, and he doesn't want to end up getting disqualified as a result of blocking the pit lane entry. He's just managed to sneak through, no problem at all. As we keep it back, we turn our eyes back towards Andre, who comes into the pits despite improving. So clearly ET have got a little bit of pace available through Andrea, but new tyres will be going on the Alpine, and hopefully there might be some changes happening in the 13th to 16th range, and Blackie in 12th place at the moment will, and certainly Velox as well, with Sam is also going to be looking over his shoulder a little bit here, because they are certainly at risk.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking with Passy at the moment, and the Alpine definitely on that limit. There's not much in between him and going out of this session. The ETE boys really need to get the finger out here if they want to both progress into qualifying. So there's only 3 minutes left in the clock here. This is probably going to be the last attempt for ETE. Passy coming through penultimate corner now. A slight lift for confidence there, just breaking down into the 4th gear. Coming out of the last corner now. It's nice and cautious from Passy, but what can he do as he comes across line? And it's up into P11. Not too bad at all from the ETE driver.
No, not bad at all indeed. He manages to get himself into the 11th place spot, which is handy for Q1, but might be a question for Q2, so keep an eye out on that one. And of course, ETE, I've got one driver being knocked out at the moment through Andrea, as Halo is coming out of the pits alongside Harris at the moment for Velox. And it's going to be pretty intense racing, I suspect, between the ETE and FGE boys here, as well, of course, as the M Racer and Chudy as well, who yet to set a lap time, as M Racer now currently on a lap for McLaren, and the driver alongside WOR Wilson not showing the pace initially and struggling a little bit in this first part of qualifying. Needs to set a lap time ASAP, otherwise he's at risk of being knocked out with no lap time at all.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on him. He's a very good driver. We've seen it in Tier 1 this year, and he's got high hopes as well. Being part of WOR, they're no slouch. This team will be looking at those top spots thinking they can get a piece of it this year. So yeah, a little bit of pressure on M-Racer on this final lap, because I think it's virtually crucial that he makes himself into qualifying too, for the sake of himself and for WOR.
Certainly indeed, maybe one that we need to keep an eye out on as we continue on with this coverage, of course, of WOR LD. Welcome to the Legacy Division. If you are just tuning in, we are just about coming to the end of qualifying 1 here in the round number 2 here in Abu Dhabi. And he's just now heading through into the stadium section now is M Racer, the only driver yet to set a lap time, except of course AMS Alex, who is not taking part in this qualifying session, representing Alien Motorsports. So they'll be starting P19 as it stands, as the number 19 McLaren will be looking to try and set a lap time ASAP, and he's certainly going to be doing so right now. He comes across the line, puts himself straight into P7. So now, as I rightfully said earlier, FGE and ETE have got to get a shift on.
VLX Sam, now the man in the Alfa Romeo, just come to the end of his lap, currently sitting in P14. Where can he put that car? Definitely on the verge of being eliminated, so he really needs to try and get a good lap time in here, and he promotes himself up into P12.
I don't think that's very safe, because if you take a look at the lap times at the moment, Sam, Levi and Passy are all within the 24.0 range here. If Blackie just needs to find maybe 2 tenths, maybe 2.5 tenths, and he'll put himself into P12, so, and push the 12th, 13th, 14th down here. So I don't think Velox are entirely safe here, though ERL Blackie is on at the moment on the cusp. We've got Halo in 16th and Steve in 17th, Andrea in 18th place for FGE, FGE and ETE respectively. They really need to get a shift on ASAP, but we do know Andrea has got a lot more pace in his hand at the moment. He did have a little bit of time on a lap that he just abandoned, about 2.5 tenths in one sector alone, so there is plenty of time available for the ETE driver.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, definitely crunch time now. I think this will be the last lap. She said it will be. The checker flag is out, so it's your last time to try and get a good lap in. Just looking more, but ERL Blackies, there's a bit of debris there as she's on board with him, but coming through underneath the hood once again. He's very, very on the limit, I should say, to if he's getting through or not. So he does need to improve just to guarantee himself into the next round. So coming through the penultimate corner, he goes 6th gear for the Alpha Tauri, and through the final corner, he goes really to nail this up to make sure he can get a good lap time in. Currently sitting P14, as I said, he comes across line and promotes himself into the top 10.
Good work indeed. Let's go to Halo. He's just about coming around at the final corner now, and we'll see how he starts his position. P12 for him as he comes across with the checkered flag now waving. So FG have got one driver coming in, and that's certainly not going to be Steve going through, because he has disqualified his lap, going very wide at the final corner. So FG have got one driver knocked out. Andrea not improving either, so Harris has just managed to sneak in. Passy is also out as well, so that's 2 ETE drivers who have been eliminated, and then Levi, it sneaks in to the top 10, 7th place for him. But look how close it is between all of those drivers at the moment. You can see there's 1 second separating P1 all the way down to P16, where the first driver is knocked out. Very close racing at the moment in this WORLD division.
Yeah, it shows there's not much in it, is there? And what a shame that is for ETE. I think when you're maybe a team a bit further back, with all with more respect to ET, when you're a bit further back, this is your time to get the Q1. There's only 3 drivers getting knocked out, and when 2 of the 3 people get knocked out was in your team, that's a tough one to take. But as you said, it's such fine margins, and unfortunately that's just the way it goes.
Well, this is going to give us a very small opportunity at the moment to potentially have a quick chat with those in the chat at the moment who are popping in as well. Thank you very much to everyone tuning in as well. I've currently got 72 people watching at the moment. Thank you very much, every single one of you, for your support. Everyone popping in saying it is, well, I've got to say everyone. I've got NRX coming in saying Jack for pole at the moment. Jack for VSR, 4th place at the moment for him, so he's certainly within touching distance of the likes of Matthew and Wilson, but Elite showing the pace at the moment, just under 2.5 2.5 tenths separating him from his teammate in the Mercedes. And ETE Storm saying, Mega Stream guys, thank you very much for your support as always. And then we've got other people around, people saying evening, Halo, NRX from Quibalda saying that Halo, my boy, I know, great performance from Halo indeed to sneak his way into the top 15 and get through to Q2, but the man of the moment, it is Elite who leads the way at the end of Q1 with Matthew in Q2, in P2 rather, WR Wilson in P3 with Jack in 4th and Scyther in P5. Looking down at the bottom half of the top 10, you've got Bartek Fla for ERL in 6th place with Levi in 7th, Lacey's in 8th, M Racer and Leopard rounding out 9th and 10th. The two Germans cracking performance indeed, separating themselves by only 6,000ths of a second, with Blackie in 11th, Judy in 12th, Halo in 13th, Sam in 14th place, and then in 15th place was just sneaking in is Harris, but he unfortunately has DNF'd at some point on circuit, so he is out of the race, out of qualifying rather, with Passy in 16th, Steve in 17th, Andre starts in 18th, and of course AMS only fielding one driver tonight, and he did not qualify. He starts in 19th place. Let's head then through to Q2, where this is where I would say it's all going to be about strategy, but of course few changes now that have happened in the Formula 1 world, where now it no longer matters what tyre you qualify on Q2. If you get through to Q3, you don't have to start on that tyre, you have the options choice.
Yeah, I think in a sense of a situation like this, it's quite a shame. I think it'd be quite interesting to see the drivers like Elite and maybe Blackie or whoever at the top is just trying to get through on medium tyres. I think that'd be quite a good watch, but as you mentioned, we'll just have 14 drivers going out on soft tyres. It'll be quite comfortable for them all, and yeah, it means come the race they don't have to start on them. It can be mediums or hards or whatever they want come the race start. Yeah,
I mean, first indications are suggesting though, going through this one, that Elite is flying high at the moment. Obviously in the as we said earlier on, in the repeating the good news of that he managed to get through to the academy team over at Veloce. He's obviously got a lot of goodness, a lot of juicy, great things running through him at the moment, which is obviously only going to help his confidence. And now the number 45 leading the way by just under 2.5 tenths ahead of his teammate FRA Matthew in the Mercedes. What a lineup between the pair of them so far.
Yeah, definitely, as it's a power team that, and there's a few of them, and that's good. There's definitely a few of them. They're not unbeatable. There's a few good teams out there that definitely could fancy their chances. You know, one driver doesn't make a team; it's a two-team competition. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see this season goes on. If you can get a good streak of runs in, we'll be interesting to see if we can push FRA as much as the Elite can be amazing. It'll be interesting to see if Matthew, as much as he's a great driver, can he push him the same? Can he be up there, follow him every week, or will we maybe see drivers like from WOR, PSR pushing the limits of FRA? It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, of course, Matthew was coming off of the back of a fantastic win at the Bahrain track over at the Paradox Series. A fantastic race from him indeed. He ended up taking the victory. Now, of course, there may be some controversy around his qualifying lap, but nonetheless, his pace put him on the front. Put him in the front and put him into the victory of that race. So he's now going to be taking that momentum forward to WORLD. So he is certainly looking forward to a very good Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and with the performance of his teammate as well, FRA are looking very sharp indeed in this particular division and particular esports sphere, if you will, in the Xbox world, as we're just watching Halo and his engine revving very weirdly, as to be expected with any Codemasters games, unfortunately. So we'll take a look then and see the first driver who's going to be starting his lap, and it is the ever so fast WR Wilson of the McLaren.
Yeah, we'll just stick on board with the McLaren coming through. Turn 1 he goes, then he'll be looking for Wilson to really try and get himself up into the top 5 early on here. I think Q2 should be no problem for him. The really quick driver, one of the quickest in this grid. They're using every inch of track. You can see coming through turn 3 now into turn 5. I think this is now. Obviously, you don't need to go the chicane to the left now, just straight through in that one big overtaking zone for this race. Now coming into your first DRS zone of the track. Once again, for the race, a huge chance for any drivers to make a move, maybe send a launch. Coming up into turn 6 and 7, here a left and an air right, pretty awkward corner here. It's really important to nail this braking zone here, which I'm pretty sure Wilson's going to do very nicely. Third gear through here, missing the curb on the right hand side and maybe missing the curb on the left hand side as well, and yes, he is there for Wilson. Now straight here, your second and last DRS of the track. Turn 8 here's a little left hand kick. Staying far left as you can, minimising the track, and now coming into turn 9 once again, a new track surface. That's long left hander. It's a bit more complicated, a bit more complex this time last year, but is much more simplified. side. Now, coming through turn 11, turn 10 and 11 now, and I'm breaking it pretty quickly for turn 12. That corner definitely comes at you fast. Now, coming through the hotel, they go to turn 13 and 14, fourth gear here for Wilson. He's done very well there. He's kept it nice and clean. It's been a nice and clean lap for the man in WOR. Coming through the flat out right-hander now, it's really good from Wilson. He's using every bit of track, and you can tell he's pushing it, but he's still just keeping it within his limits, and he comes across line, and there's a 124.2.
Well, 24.1 though for Cypher. It's just sneaking in behind as well was Cypher. Sizer. Well, you know what? We discussed this in TPS actually. What is his name? Let's see the discussion of that in the chat as well. Now, someone came up with the idea. I believe it was the man, the myth, the legends. That is Ryan Jacobs offering the idea that it's potentially Cypher, as in the Pokemon. So we'll go with Scyther for now, but if anyone's got any other better ideas, let us know. Either way, he manages to sneak onto pole before ERL Blackies come out on the line with a very good lap time, 24.0 for ERL. So suddenly out of nowhere, ERL has shown a little bit of pace in this particular event, as Elite is on a hot lap at the moment, and he's just now approaching the end of the first straight as Levi comes across the line with a 24.0 himself in the other Williams for PSR, but then ERL takes that one right back out their hands again with Bartek Fra with a 23.9. So nice little battle happening on track between PSR and ERL at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at F3 Matthew now, he's coming across the line, and what lap is in it is provisional P1 here, 123.715. A good lap there for Matthew. Just switched to his teammate F3 Elite, the main man here. Everyone knows the name, everyone knows how quick this guy can be. Coming through the final sector, he goes underneath this, the hotel, and let's just see what he can do. His teammate's at 23.715. Let's see if he can beat it. Coming through the penultimate corner, he goes flat out in 7th gear, no problem for Elite. Using all the curb on the exit and using the apex as well. Coming down to the final corner he goes, and there you have it, a 123. Wow, what a lap in.
He's quick, isn't he? I mean, I just very quickly put it over to the speedometer for just a second so we could just witness how quick he is on the acceleration pedal, and he's just so quick to stick the power down around corners, and it's no wonder he's just gone nearly 7 tenths of a second faster than his teammate at the moment. He's absolutely flying high at the moment, is FRA Elite at the moment, and having a quick word with Luke Humperdinck earlier as well, saying that the expectation here is Elite is going to be flying around this circuit, so certainly going to be a driver we're going to have to bear in mind. But of course, this is not an excuse to step away from the footage and the experience of racing here, because it's a brand new track, and some drivers here may have only just raced on this track competitively a few times, and I'm expecting especially the midfield to be a very intense race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think as well, Abu Dhabi, the strategy's a little bit more open. I think sometimes you can see a two-stop round here. I'm not too sure on this game, I'm not going to lie, don't quote me on it, but you can definitely see a bit more of an open strategy, which can always make it that little bit more interesting. But anyway, I'm just going to look on board with M-Race at the moment, the man who delivered a pretty good late lap in Q1 to send him through, and actually I don't think it looks like he's on a hot lap at the moment, so ignore me. But yeah, M-Race, a lot of work to do, because 8 minutes left on the clock, still not got a valid lap.
So at the moment, as it stands at the moment, we've still got 6 drivers yet to set a lap time at the moment. M-Race all the way falling down to Chudy. Both VSR drivers yet to set a lap at the moment. And we know Chudy has had a few connection issues. He's just disconnected and then reconnected back into the session at the end of Q1. So he was looking to just get back into his car and have a go in this Q2 session, as Jack is also on an out lap at the moment, his teammate. But the Shazoo driver, Lacey, is just going down the straight now, as Lacey, represented in the Red Bull, is just going around turn 1 at the moment, and he's now going to try and set a lap himself at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. A little bit of pressure on him, obviously. These guys that have not set a lap yet, there's a bit more pressure with 7 minutes left on the clock. It is important to try and get a good lap time in, so yeah, a little bit of pressure, as I've said, but I mean, I'm sure he'll do well, and yeah, just keep an eye on his lap time as it progresses.
Well, he's now just heading down that main straight at the moment, as we've got Coeur de Silva just in the chat saying, damn, Elite 7 tenths quicker he is at the moment. He's flying, is the FRA driver. He's looking very, very good indeed for FRA, and a very good package driver as well. He's so consistent, isn't he, around every circuit you put him at. Unbelievable stuff at the moment. So, people now heading down the straight. And apparently a purple second sector as well for Lacey, the Shazoo driver, as he now heads around the circuit. Maybe gone a little bit off of the track, but he's kept it within track limits apparently, as he now heads into the third sector. Keep it nice and tidy through here. Try and hit the curbs and the apexes as close as you can. Try not to spit your car out too wide here. Perfect. And perfect again. Didn't Latifi it into the wall through there. Into the final couple of corners where he'll keep it nice and tidy. And of course the sausage curb now gone, unlike last year, as he now heads into that final corner, and he'll come across the line top 10 to qualify. Put him on the front row, 23.6.
Yeah, very good lap there from Lacey. Just, I think that might be enough for him to go through, but it's still 5/10 of elite, which just amazes me. Just looking on board with VLX Sam now, currently sitting in P13, but no lap to his name coming through with the penultimate corner. He goes slight lefty and then at the final corner. Where can he put that Alfa Romeo? Can it be in the top 10? Can it even be in the top 5? Let's see as he comes across line, and it's only the top 10, 1.3 seconds off the pace for Sam.
Yeah, he's definitely a risk for Velox at the moment. Of course, the other Velox driver, DNF from Q1, it looked like he crashed out as Elite has retired very, very early into this Q2 session. I think he's very confident at the moment, despite the fact that LCR Leopard has managed to close that gap. It is 0.3 of a second, but he has closed the gap nonetheless, as Jack has make that 1/10 of a second. He now puts a 23.1 into Elite. Fairly confident he's through, but is he going to get the lead?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Just looking at Jack's teammate Today now coming to the end of his lap. It was important for him to get a good lap in now. I don't think he'll get much more chances to improve on what he's got. 5 minutes left in the clock. What does Today set here? And it's a 1 minute 23.5, and that puts him in P5.
Here's the RL Bartek Fra. He's now in the Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri, representing ERL now. I'll get that right eventually at some point. You know, I'm surprised I still haven't called him Toro Rosso, to be honest with you. Heading down the first straight, going through the chicane and then heading their way down here as Scyther for PSR, 123.1 for him as well. Really close Q2 at the moment as it stands here between the midfield, but they are closing the gap to FRA Elite as they head now into that deep left-hander. Try and keep it close to the apex if you want the fastest lap, but come out wide if you want the better exit during a race. So that's going to be interesting to see what the drivers do during the race around that corner. Then heading into the stadium section where you've got to keep it nice and tidy. Try not have a half spin out. Try and avoid oversteer in general around here if you can as well. And he is keeping it nice and tidy, actually, is the ERL driver. One driver at risk, the other driver out as it stands at the moment for ERL. So Levi could really, Bartek Fra rather, could really do with putting himself up into P5, and he does exactly that, 23.2.
Yeah, good lap from him there. Just looking at Embry, so when he was on, when you were talking about Bartek Frazi, and he made a massive mistake going into turn 6. He's on a good lap, but he made a big mistake. He locked up and went off the track. So yeah, a lot of pressure on Embry at the moment. 4 minutes left on the session. I'm not too sure if he's got the fuel to go again, or if he's going to go and pit and get new tyres and go again. But no matter what it is, there's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of emphasis on this last run.
Leroy Brown is putting money where his mouth is at the moment in the chat. He's saying £5 to whoever beats Elite.
Oh, that's a bold offer. I think his money's pretty safe there, actually, when you look at his face so far. So yeah, I think that's a pretty safe money there from him.
Do you want to stick a £5 in there as well?
Yeah, I don't tenner.
Here we are. We've got Callum putting a £5 in as well. Bear that one in mind, guys. We'll see and watch it now. Elite crashes at turn 1 at the start of the race. Let's see now. Let's keep an eye out on the rest of the performance then, as Jack also retires from the session with his 23.187, 9 thousandths of a second behind Scyther for PSR, and WR Wilson in the McLaren looking very sharp indeed with a 23.2 for Bartek Fra up in 5th. Leopard with a 23.3. It was on the front row at one point and is now down in 6th place. He'll be watching over his shoulder at the moment, because if the track is getting better as time goes on, he might be in a little bit of a risk here. We'll see. FRA Matthew certainly at risk at the moment in 9th place with that 23.7. Not the fastest we've seen him. He's done faster in Q1, so clearly not able to get the clean lap. Is he going to have the better time around this time around is the question. Halo, though, was the hero of the chat, actually, to say the least, as he managed to sneak in to Q2, and he sets a purple sector 2 apparently with a 52. I believe it's a 52.4. So good lap indeed so far from Halo. Is he going to be a hero again?
Oh, a good bit of wordplay there. I'm liking that. See if he can be coming through the final sector. He goes. It's been a good lap so far, as you've mentioned. But yeah, a lot to live up to. Just about 5/10 up, I think it was, a sector split. So a good final sector can definitely seal his chances from going into Q3. Coming through the final corner, he goes and he comes across the line. Where is it? And it's only P9. That is very marginal for FGE Halo.
It is Certainly very marginal indeed for FGE. 9th place at the moment, especially when we've got the likes of Levi a little bit out of position at the moment. Matthew is out of position, and M-Racer very out of position. He's not even set a lap time. He needs to get out now, actually, doesn't he? Because he's going to be at risk if he doesn't get out. I think he's just leaving the pits, and he is leaving the pits, so just managed to sneak out in time, and I think he's only got time for 1 lap as well, so it is going to be... I mean, if you were in M-Racer's position, surely you're going to have to try and act as conservative as you can, but try and make up the time where you can in the corners where you're confident.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, it's not an easy situation he's put himself in, but yeah, unfortunately, it's just all from his own misfortune. So yeah, a little bit of work to do. Just looking at Levi Asbit at the moment, coming in P11, he's just about on the cut-off to get knocked out. So let's see if he can promote himself into that top 10. 3/10 of a second though between him and FRA Matthew. So yeah, a little bit of work to do, a little bit of time to be found coming out of the hotel section. He goes into the final 2 corners. Where can he put this, Williams? Yeah, good lap so far. Just was watching it in the earlier stages. So let's see if they can replicate it through these final 2 corners, and he certainly has. Comes across the line now. Where is it for Levi? It's P8.
Nice lap indeed from Levi. He's managed to get himself into 8th place. He's pushed the hero Halo down into 10th place at the moment. That was terrible to attempt at more wordplay on that one, wasn't it? Sorry. It's not funny after a second time you've done it. Here comes Matthew then as he now heads through the final set of corners. Of course, he wants to try and keep it steady himself. He is well out of position at the moment for FRA. Of course, his teammate down in up in P1 rather. He got P2 in Q1. He's going to try and replicate that if he can, and it's going to be important that he does because he wants to put some pressure on Scyther and Jack. He'll come across the line, and he does exactly that. 23.0, but still not faster than Elite, but only just by 13 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, really close stuff there up at the front. VLX Sam made a bit of a mistake coming out of the final corner, so he's no longer going to improve, and that is his session done. So he is unfortunately out for VLX. So yeah, tough session for the man in the Alfa Romeo.
Well, here comes VLX Sam then. Is he just going around the corner? Of course, here's M-Racer as well. It's going to be an important lap for him here. His first sector, actually, 17.3. Not so bad. He's actually best. His best split was 9 thousandths of a second slower, so he is getting faster with a personal best sector 1, but does he need a better sector 2? That is the case. He's going now into the very deep left-hander at Abu Dhabi. Of course, it's a 52.8. He's down actually 1.91 seconds on his fastest second sector, so he's obviously taking it more conservatively in the hope that he can just sneak in to Q3. The checkered flag is now out, so all of the drivers that are currently on a lap, this is the fastest lap they can now do as he now heads through the 3rd sector, and this is a crucial lap of course here because his teammate in P5 is maybe comfortably through here as it stands. He comes through then the final corner, wants to keep it steady. Is he going to sneak in? He's not. M-Racer has been knocked out of Q2.
Wow, big shock that on board Wells. See, Leopard is pretty comfortably through, but we'll just see what lap time he can set anyway. In P8 for the man in the red dot, it's been a pretty comfortable session for him, but wow, what a shock that was for him, Racer. Anyway, we'll stick on board for the Leopard, and he comes across like, where can he put that Red Bull? And into the top 5. Very nice there for the Red Bull driver. Yeah,
P5 for the Red Bull driver as he now gets through to Q3 with no problem at all. Shock of the day though, M-Racer has been knocked out, but oh, Halo just missing out in the end. P11 for the FGE driver. He's not a hero on this occasion, just missing out on that Q3 appearance as he just sneaks in to Q2, but he'll be very happy in FGE, or certainly he'll be very happy with P11 at the moment because they're on the brink for points.
Yeah, just something to point out as well, from today down to up to Elite, I should say, only 0.3 of a second separated it. I'm aware that Elite only done 1 lap, and that just shows how good he is, but still, it just shows that maybe Elite isn't as good as they thought. It's really small margins there. 0.3 is from 1st to 8th, so yeah, Elite still has to be on it to make sure that he wants to get pole position.
He's going to need to definitely be on it, but that lap was set with about 7 minutes left on the clock, so the track was definitely getting grippier, so we'll have to see what the pole position lap time is going to be, because he's certainly not going to leave it until just the 1 lap. He's definitely going to have a couple of goes at it as we head through into Q3. But here are your Q2 results though, and FRA Elite again leading the way as he tries to continue his Grand Slam in this race, and Matthew is in 2nd with Jack in 3rd, Scyther in 4th place. 2 American drivers in 3rd and 4th as well. The United States will be happy with that one. Leopard in 5th place with Wilson in 6th, Bartek Fly in 7th. It's Judy in 8th with Levi in 9th and Lacey rounding out the top 10. And of course those knocked out, FGE Halo, the hero of Q1, is just missed out by just under 40, to be exact, 14 thousandths of a second separated him from a Q3 appearance. M-Racer in a shock twist also knocked out of qualifying with Blackie, also out for ERL, and VLX Sam also out of Q2. We head through then to Q3, and all favourites are suggesting Elite's got this one, but it's all about that midfield because this is a new circuit and some drivers may have only had very little experience racing around here competitively. Midfield is going to be very intense, especially if the qualifying is separated by as tiny amount as it is, 0.3 of a second between first and potentially down as far as 6th and 7th place.
Yeah, definitely. It just shows maybe basically for all these guys, every little margin counts, and yeah, I think one lap mistake, even if you lose a 10th of a second, that could be the difference between 5th and 9th. So yeah, a lot to play for here, and it should be an interesting 12 minutes coming up.
Let's see what we have coming up then as the drivers, and Mercedes very keen to get going with FRA as Matthew and Elite are leaving the pits straight away. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a little bit of teamwork between the two of them. I hope there isn't, because if Matthew's going to give a toe to Elite, that would be the biggest joke of this qualifying session. We'll have to see. VSR also setting their drivers out early on as well. It may be a paramount importance to those in 2nd and 3rd place that they get a toe from their teammate if they want to try and put Elite under pressure. And you know that £5 that you put on, maybe should we classify that as at the end of the race, or should it be qualifying that would take it off you?
I could do both. I'm pretty confident in him.
Oh, wow. Double or nothing from Callum. You heard it all here, folks. Keep an eye out on that one. This is WOR. This is the Legacy Division. Welcome to round number 2 of this inaugural season. We are at Abu Dhabi in the weird, controversial circumstance that you usually see this at the end of the season. We're doing it right at the beginning. So these drivers are having to keep in the mindset that we're not at the end of the season just yet. We are at the beginning, and they are all heading around with 10 minutes to go in this Q3 session. A couple of runs available for everyone here. Last driver to come out will be LCR Leopard, and he's leaving it till very late to get a go at this one. Yeah,
definitely. It's interesting to see. It's not like your normal short qualifying sessions here. You've not got long to get out and get back in and get out again. So yeah, it's pretty strange to see that Leopard is leaving it peculiarly late.
Oh, crikey. Oh, you got me at a bad time there. I was just drinking some water. So here we keep an eye. I thought I'd have enough time for it, but I didn't in the end, shall we say. Matthew is coming around the final corner, then he is going to be the driver. That is going to be the one to watch as Harris has left the session. I hope that's not him bailing from this race. Indeed, if he is racing, I believe he is racing, isn't he? We'll have to keep an eye on that one anyway. Matthew is having a go, and he is out now, and he is in front of Elite, so he is going to be given a tiny, maybe smidge of a toe, but he does have to think about himself on this scenario because, of course, FRA would love a front row lockout.
Yeah, they definitely would, and it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. So I'm not too sure who was the first man to check it. Look at a lap time. I think I've missed the boat there, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the lap times were and how different they were from Q2. I'm not too sure what the kind of track's like from Q3 to Q2 in this game, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how different the lap times are.
Just want to quickly correct myself here on this one. It is actually Elite that's giving Matthew the no, I was right the first time. For some reason, it was giving me the camera for Elite, but the arrow was being pointed where Matthew was. Very interesting. Either way, Elite is behind Matthew, and I don't believe that toe is coming anytime soon. It looks that Matthew is a little bit too far away. In fact, he's had a very good first sector. He was actually just a smidge faster than Elite in the first sector, and he's faster than Elite in the second sector as well, weirdly enough. So it's got to be a monumental effort for the third sector here if Elite is going to be matching around Matthew's pace here. I'm sure the Dirty Air is not going to be that much of a problem, especially with the new generation of cars. Dirty Air not a problem. Oh, that's a little mistake there, actually, from Matthew. A lot of curb going through there, so it didn't look like he accelerated off the end of that corner as much as he wanted to, but he's going to be coming across the final line now. He's going to set the initial lap time. It is a 23.009 as Elite comes across the line. Oh, it's a 22.7 from Elite. So third sector absolutely obliterated. Yeah, he was just a bit over 3.5 tenths faster, but on my screen anyway, to Matthew. Flying high is Elite at the moment, and the first person to get into the 22s. PSR rounding out a second row with 3 and 4 at the moment as we keep an eye on other drivers that are going to be around the field at the moment. I believe we've got the other Ferrari of Tudy coming across the line, 23.3. He puts himself and splits the two PSR drivers as we've got a slow PSR driver just getting out of the way by the looks of things, as we've got a McLaren coming across the line. WR Wilson, 23.1 for him. Obviously his teammate knocked out in Q2. And here comes the ERL driver, Bartek Ferrari. He needs to get himself into the top 5 if he can really help it, if he can, and he does exactly that again with a 23.333.
Last but certainly not least, the set time is LCR Leopard coming to the end of his lap time now. The only one out in track, VSR, Jack and Shizulaki, Lacey, sorry, both not setting a lap time, so it's just Leopard now to set a time where can he put this Red Bull into top 5 possible. I definitely think that is in the realms of possibility. Coming to the final corner now, third gear up into fourth pretty early. No, he's not using all the curb, coming across the line, and it is P5, 23.254 for Leopard.
So he absolutely smashes Bartek Fra's time, the 23.333, puts himself into 5th place just above him, and that will be a share of the 3rd row of the grid for LCR Leopard and the ERL driver, but 2 drivers yet to settle up. Jack for VSR just coming out of the pits, and Lacey also doing exactly the same thing as well for Red Bull. So we are going to see all 10 drivers out on the field, and I'm expecting there's going to be a couple of runs, but the 2 drivers at Shizou and VSR leaving it a little bit later to give it a go, maybe waiting for the track to warm up a little bit on their first run.
Yeah, I'm sure this is maybe something that they're aware of in practice. I would imagine they will still have enough time to go out, get a lap, and then come back in and go again. So pretty smart thinking from these two. If this works out, the track's a bit more rubbered in, a bit more grip, a bit quicker. So yeah, this could actually work in their favour pretty well here.
Just keeping an eye out on the chat as well. Bobert's in there. Did Callum get a promotion coming in to commentate here? I bet he prefers commentating on WOR Tier 2. Tier 2, I mean, it's a cracking league, don't get me wrong. It's a cracking little tier with some great drivers in here. Oh my god, it was you saying that actually. Tier 2 is clear. No Bobbert spinning every lap in this is an L that you've just passed him to win. Thanks for the ratio.
Oh dear, well, let's back onto the track now. We'll see what Jack can do to start his lap the rest of the grids and the pit lane.
I could hear the red face coming at you how you speaking. It's funny that actually, because Bobbers don't lie, you love hearing me spin.
Well, there you go. And talking about red, we've got the red man in the Ferrari. VSR Jack starting his lap time now. Coming into turn 1 that he goes, and we'll stick him over the Ferrari. Let's see what lap time he can do. His teammate currently sitting in P7, 6/10 off the pace for today. So let's see if they can beat it better. His teammate now coming out of turn 3 into turn 4 now, the newly jigged corner, the left-hander now. We've seen the move from Max Verstappen. You've always seen any moves tonight. I'm sure we probably will. Coming out of corner now, 5th gear, using all the track possible, and DRS enabled. Once again, I said earlier, this could be a huge overtaking place for the race. Probably the biggest one that you will see. Coming out of turn 6 it is now, breaking around about the 100-metre board, probably in the 3rd gear, I'd imagine we've seen. Avoiding both inside curbs are not really nice, and then probably avoiding outside curbs as well. Coming out of corner now, DRS sticking far left once again, making sure you're using all the track and getting the shortest run to the next corner, which is turn 9, the long left-hander, just like turn 5. Also been rejigged, a slightly different line there from Jack, a little bit tighter in the inside, which is going to compromise his exit slightly, going out in that curb, which can be brutal at points. Now coming into turn 14, I think this is. No, it's not, it's turn 10. Coming into here, he goes 4th gear for it all. Up to 5th now, through and underneath the hotel he goes. Now next corner is the penultimate corner, flat out corner, pretty easy now in these cars. 7th gear with all the grip and how good the track is now. That's a very easy corner to do, and it's just one last corner for Jack to navigate. He does that pretty nicely and he comes across the line, and it is P4, a great lap there from VSR Jack.
3 drivers with a 23.0, and then we've got Shizou Lacey coming across the line with another driver into the 23.3s. Lacey just beating Judy by 1/1000th of a second, so very, very close racing between those drivers in this qualifying session as they all come into the pits. And that would be the end of the first run as the drivers are just preparing themselves for that final run. We have a very quick look at the chat as well. If you are watching as a repeat, feel free to tune in at our usual times at Fridays at 7 o'clock, and of course for the Legacy Division, and of course the rest of the WOR tiers at their respective times. Check WOR on Twitter. People asking the question here, with Oscar Mandok saying hello to WOR commentators and the chat. Quick question, steak or sushi?
Oh, it has to be steak. I'm not much of a sushi man, so yeah, steak, that's an easy one.
No, we're talking about steak and sushi in the middle of the WOR Legacy Division, the one that everyone is meant to be looking at here. I'm going to be the one that says sushi on this particular occasion, shall we say. And I'm expecting just a barrage of complaints now I've just said that one. We'll have to see on that one. There's Ferocious Johnny back in the chat as well. Good evening to yourself. So nice to have you back with us. So we have just a little bit over 3 minutes in the session. We're going to start to see drivers now coming out. So the early onsetters who wants to maybe have a couple of runs at this one, I'm expecting, are going to come out early, and that is exactly what's happening for ERL Bartek Fla. And I believe one of the VSR drivers in tuning is going to be coming out of the pits as well to have a couple of runs at this one. And you can't blame at the moment. 7th and 9th, they've got nothing to lose to have a couple of goes at this one.
Yeah, definitely. Going out, that selling just allows them to get an extra lap in as well. If the first one goes a little bit wrong, they can maybe afford to take a little bit more risk in the first lap, knowing they've got the backup, knowing they've got the safety net of going for another run. So yeah, not a bad idea from these two. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it plays out. But saying that, Matthew and the Elite, two guys currently sitting first and second for FRA, also going not too far behind them as well.
Let's keep an eye on here. Baltic Fry is just warming his tyres up as well as we are speaking. The FRA boys, as you rightfully point out, are just leaving the pit lane now as Matthew leads out of the way with Elite back in second place once again. And all of these questions all coming along the way. Here's a question from you while everyone's just warming up their tyres before we get on with this final bit of qualifying for you. And I think a little bit of a biased one here from Connor Robinson. Callum, Wales or Scotland?
Oh, that's a bit of a stupid question. It's going to be Scotland all day, isn't it? But I respect the effort there from Connor.
I respect the Welsh, but you're going to support your own nation, of course, on that one. Let's have a look then as we get on with this final bit of qualifying. Round number 2 at Abu Dhabi in WOR Legacy Division. We've got ERL Batik Farah coming across into turn 1 now, and he'll want to keep it nice and tidy. And there's a couple of drivers leaving the pit lane, actually, so they're not going to get in the way. Through turn 2, into turn 3, keep it on the curb and then come out a bit wide. Mounts the curb a little bit. Not too bad, though. It's a little bit flatter now on this particular game as they head now through into turn 5, where he's going to try and keep it on the curb if he can, and then down the main straight. Of course, DRS is going to be available for the number 25 Alpha Tower, and he will have another couple of goes at this one if he can at least keep going. But of course, the electrical pack is going to get an absolute hammering, especially down this part of the circuit, the long straight now going through into the chicane, where you want to keep it nice and tidy if you can, as of course he heads now down the what we call straight, not straight. It technically is turn 8 at this point, and then of course down that left-hander of turn 9.
Yeah, it's been a good lap for him so far. Let's see, coming through turn 9, what can he do? He's about 10th up on his current lap time, so it is looking pretty good for Bartek Fraz. Now coming out of here, it's coming in a triple right-hander, 10, 11 and 12. I think we've seen a pretty big crash here back in the day. Nico Rosberg, if I'm right in saying, third gear up into fourth, coming through underneath the head cell. He goes for the final time in this qualifying session. P7 he currently sits. Any improvement would be a pretty good improvement. I think the top 5 is more in the realms of her capability, so let's just see, coming to the final corner he goes. Where can he put that AlphaTauri, and where can he put himself in the current standings? He comes across line, and it is P5. A good lap time there from the AlphaTauri.
Not the only P5 merchant I know, actually, within the esports world. A good friend of mine called Ben. He goes by the name of Heatproof Ham, the king of P5s. Oh, we've got a spinning car. It's WR Wilson. Look at that. Speaking of McLaren as well, Heatproof Ham in his favourite car. Unfortunately, he's just spun as WR Wilson, and he is now just getting around here. And is he going to have enough time to have another go? He is not, actually. He's out of time. So WR Wilson will be starting no higher than P7, and he's certainly at risk from the likes of LCR Leopard and Lacey. But it is all about the performance of FRA at the moment. We're going to have to keep an eye on that one as he now heads through into the final couple of corners, as he'll keep it nice and tidy through the final corner. Will Matthew, is he going to be able to put a challenge on FRA Elite? We'll have to see. 22.7 is what he's looking for. He'll come across the line now. Oh, he's managed to snag pole at the moment. Is that £5 coming out of Callum's pocket? We'll have to see. Here he comes, then FRA Elite will be able to beat the lap time. Oh, come on. 22.483 for FRA Elite, which is absolutely flying high. Hacks, I say, hacks for FRA Elite. 22.9 manages to sneak into the 22.9, though. There's Scyther for PSR, and that'll be a good performance from the PSR boys, and they'll be hoping that Levi will be able to follow up on that one as well, because he's now currently heading around the circuit, as well as the Red Bull boys. I believe that is LCR Leopard coming across the line. He'll want to try and improve if he can, and he does ever so slightly. 23.1 for him, as he's a little bit down the order. As Shizou Lacey, the other Shizou driver, will be looking to try and beat his teammate. Will he be able to do that one? He does. P7 for him, beats him by just 0.07 of a second, so it's very, very good, consistent stuff from the Shizou drivers. This is a big crash with VSR. Jack going across the line. Looks like he wiggled it out, and he's not going to be happy about that one. And VSR, he'll beat his teammate, but he's got a lot of damage to the car, and the team will be fixing that one before he gets into the race. But as it looks to me, with WR Wilson obviously having that spin out, he'll be finishing up here. And no surprises, Matthew did manage to beat FRA Elite on track for about a femtosecond before it comes across the line and takes a 22.4.
Yep, very good laps there from him. Oh, a shame there from Jack at the end. I think he's actually on a decent lap, but yeah, just a little bit too trigger happy on the throttle, and yeah, unfortunately found himself in the wall. But a good session in the end, and once again, FRA 1-2 dominance from Elite 210's clear. But Matthew had a good session as well, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that P2.
Unbelievable, to say the least. FRA Elite continues on his run to try and get the Grand Slam and take the win as well, and the fastest lap is what he's going to be looking for here. But he's got the qualifying under his belt at the moment. First, second and third qualifying belonging to him, with Matthew in second, Scyther in third, and Jack, again, the Americans taking the second row. They'll be very happy with that one, as PSR take third with VSR in fourth and fifth. ERL will take sixth, a good performance from Bartek Ferrari, Lacey in seventh, Leopard in eighth for Shazoo, WR Wilson for McLaren, and then Levi will finish out the top 10. So we head through to the race, and early indications are putting Elite around about 2 to 2.5 tenths faster than the rest of the field at the moment. Surely the favourite going into this race.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's the favourite. When we woke up this morning, we all knew that Elite was going to be definitely in a strong position to win it. And yeah, just kind of reaffirming that in the qualifying session, dominant from start to finish, Q1, Q2 and Q3, and never really looked him down, did he? And then yeah, going into the race, you never know, a lot of things can happen. And I think if maybe someone steps out a wee bit, starts to rattle him, you never know, maybe Elite's dominance might come to an end.
We'll have to see on that one. We'll be back very shortly for your continued coverage of this WOR-LD. This is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Good evening then, ladies and gentlemen across the world. Welcome aboard to WOR-LD. This is the Legacy Division, and it's brought to you by myself, Jota, and Callum G, the GOAT, shall we say, of WOR Tier 2. So, we have got a very, very interesting event ahead of us. FRA Elite was elite across the field, manages to take first place on all qualifying available to him, and he is going to be starting the grid and starting at the front on the medium tyre, apparently. Matthew, his teammate, locking out the front row for FRA, apparently starting on the soft tyre, but again, he was one of those drivers that is renowned for changing his strategy at the last second, so I don't expect him to start on the softs. But Matthew, very good qualifying for him, and a very good qualifying for the Americans in third and fourth place, with Judy in fifth place of VSR. Callum, very, very close qualifying in general as well.
Yeah, definitely it was, and you've seen that early doors in Q1 as well. It was such tight margins to get out of Q1, such tight margins to get out of Q2, and even in Q3 as well. It might not have been the tightest margin for pole, but just throughout the grid from first to 10th, there wasn't much in it, and I think that'll probably be replicated in this race as well.
So it was a very close qualifying, which is only going to make for a very close race, and it's going to be one to watch in that midfield, because the midfield is where I think a lot of the racing is going to be about. Keep an eye out on the hero of the moment, FGE Halo, managing to sneak in P11 after he just missed out on Q3, and sneaking into Q3 as well, actually, did the Aston Martins. FGE potentially on for some good points here tonight with and through Halo, as he's looking very racy tonight in the Aston Martin at Abu Dhabi. Levi then obviously will be defending from him, and WR Wilson on the fifth row. Keep an eye out on the Velox boys as well, 14th and 15th place respectively. They're a little bit down the field, aren't they, Velox? And they'll want to try and bounce back. They are matching their strategy though.
Yeah, definitely. And just talking about strategy, I think we'll probably see hard to medium, probably from start to finish. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see though if we do see any people going from the mediums. I know we've got a few guys on mediums and softs, but I think that's just a big game of chicken at the moment. I think we'll probably see the majority of the grid turn to hards the last moment, and hards to medium will be the probably preferred strategy. But nonetheless, as you see everywhere and most league races, you will see a few guys go for the medium, go for medium to hard, I should say, and go for that alternate strategy. So yeah, that's always good. That always just leaves a little bit of variety in the race as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to what these drivers are going to decide. I'm expecting Matthew not to start on the soft. That is for a certain fact. Very brief rundown as well of what's happening at the moment as regards to the standings. Of course, we're only one round in, but as it stands at the moment, FRA are leading the way with 36 points. Paradox are in second with 26, followed by WR Esports in 21. Visceral are down in fourth with 12. Then it's Shazoo with 2. Velox with Team Shazoo with 4. Velox Esports with 2. And then False Group Esports FGE with the 1 point. And again, they're on here through Halo to potentially get another important point, especially considering ERL and Alien Motorsports position. They are both without points alongside ETE. UETE themselves need to find a little bit of pace and get some points on the board. So we're going to be interested to see how that's going on. In the driver standings, you really don't need to know that Elite is in the lead at the moment for FRA 126 after a cracking win last week. And then Scyther in second with Smokey in third with Jack in fourth, Pisty in fifth place, who of course is not racing FRA tonight, of course in place of Matthew, who is racing on his behalf tonight. So it is a very, very interesting grid. We've got a very interesting qualifying, which is going to lead to a very interesting race, I'm fairly certain. Now it's all about what's going to happen as regards to safety cars, because the safety car is a big feature around Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big feature anyway, especially like this. There's so many big drivers or so many guys going up against it. A bit like eagles to eagles, and I don't want to say that in a bad way, but it's people that believe in themselves and they think they're going to get a position, they'll go for it, and you can see crashes. People just see people, they're pushing that hard out, they'll spin, they'll crash. So yeah, just like any league race, crashes happen, and safety cars will happen as well, which is always good. It means the strategy's not always set in stone. There's always going to be a spanner in the works, and yeah, that just keeps it nice and interesting.
Certainly looking forward to seeing what the drivers have got ahead of us here as we let's take a quick look actually what's happening as regards to the chat at the moment, as people just popping in. Chandler Sieta in the chat as well. Good evening to yourself, sir. Mid slapped. Oh, okay, it's talking about mids at the moment in the chat. It's very interesting what's happening here. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what the fans have got out there at the moment. We've got 131 people tuning in as well, so a big thank you to everyone who is out there in the world at the moment, just appreciating what WOR are putting on as we're just about to get going for this race. Early indications that suggest Elite are going to take this one. You've still got your £5 down on Elite here. If it isn't going to be Elite, who do you think could be a contender for the race victory?
I think it can be anyone that challenges Elite. I think Elite gets it slightly easy in races, so anyone that wants to stick their nose out there, send a move down the inside, rattle them a little bit, I think that'll be the one that can beat Elite tonight.
Well, see what's happening as we're going to get straight on into this race. The drivers are lined up on the grid, and we're going to get going for Abu Dhabi. And with those drivers lined up, we're counting down the lights. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, and it's 5 lights. It's 5 lights, and they are a... Go, the drivers, here they are. It's a really good start on that inside line, of course, from FRA Elite, who's going to try and cover off his teammate, but a bouncing start from Matthew, who tries to cover off from the position here as Scyther gets covered off from the Ferrari of VSR. Jack and Tude also trying to battle here with LCR Leopard, making some gains on WR. Wilson's going to be careful around that corner after spinning in qualifying, as the drivers all going to keep round here. Bartek Fra down 3 positions for ERL, and down towards the back, Halo, the hero, is not heroic at the moment. He's down 7 and down, make it 8, down to the back of the grid as he half spins at turn 9.
Yeah, good start there for Elite up at the front, just looking now at the battle for P11 M-Racer and VLX Harris going side by side. There's a few scraps as well going up front, but we'll stick on board with the battle for the points. M-Racer down the inside into turn 7, I think this is. Can they get the move done? There's a Red Bull sending it as well. These two still sending it side by side. It's going to be a great race all over this field. A bit of contact as well, but M-Racer just about scrapes his way through.
Keep an eye on then our FRA Elite, who's now beginning his push now to try and take the victory of this race, but not the fastest second sector of anyone at the moment. That actually belongs, by looks on my screen at the moment, to Scyther. He's absolutely flying at the moment. It's the Paradox Racing driver. He is looking very sharp indeed. Is the Williams in this race. He was actually pretty sharp throughout this season so far, and actually Matthew has made a tiny mistake here and is offering opportunities here to the Williams to potentially knock the confidence of the FRA team to get their 1-2, as AMS Alex is battling at the moment with the hero in 18th place. And here we're going then into the final corner as we finish the lap 1 when we head into the second lap of 29 here at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Levi Asbit as well. A drive-through penalty for jumping the start, so definitely not ideal for the Williams man. A slight rookie error there, and he's definitely going to have to pay the price for that mistake.
Yeah, I mean, James in the chat as well, just offering his support for Levi by saying he's showing levels with that jump start. Oh dear, that's a ratio if I've never heard one. Keep an eye out then on the rest of the field, especially towards the midfield. Bartek for a very poor start from the ERL driver, down to 8th place. Still on for points though, and crucial points for ERL as well, as they try to get their first points on the board this season. And as it stands at the moment though, Velox making some moves up to 11th place, but it is about the McLarens of WR Wilson, as LCR Leopard is making a move here on Tudy, and VSR have been split up. They're usually very consistent in racing and usually hug themselves, but right now LCR Leopard putting that hug to a bit of a shame, as is now a bit of a battle happening between ERL, Bartek Fra and Lacey, as the Bartek Fra wants his position back, but he's going to have to do it the hard way around the outside of turn 9, and he might actually have the grip as well. Looking at this one, what a move around the outside from the ERL driver, taking P7.
Yeah, it looks like Lacey's in a bit of pressure as well from Wilson and behind, but just about hangs on to it there. But wow, what a move that was from Bartek Fraz. Just briefly as well, what to talk about LCR Leopard. Good start from him up into P5, but 36% ERS is what he's on already as we just approach lap 3. So yeah, the Red Bull driver's really been pushing there, and yeah, it might just start to pay the price in the next coming laps.
Well, WR Wilson on the hard tyre as Leopard goes fastest of anyone so far. He's flying at the moment, is the Shazoo driver, as now we're heading to turn 1 again. And Wilson was putting a bit of pressure on the other Shazoo driver in front, but at the moment it looks like he's got his act together and he's getting himself back in the running of this particular race as Lacey is trying to battle. And we've already got multiple warnings penalties for track extension, as it looks like here Andrea has got that time penalty, and it looks like Levi also struggling with penalties as well, as is Alex. They are flying in on the 3rd lap of 29. If they keep at it with these time penalties, there's a serious issue with disqualification.
Yeah, this track is really brutal, especially in this game in terms of getting warnings and picking up penalties. Just want to focus our attention to the front as well. Matthew managing to stick in DRS with Elite at the moment, but F3 Elite on 100% ERS. He is not phased, he is not pushing, and yeah, he is in cruise control at the moment.
Certainly is, but Matthew just keeping in touching distance and allowing to stay in his DRS will Elite, so obviously trying to think about the team game here, but in doing so, Scyther is very, very close and indeed wanted to size up a move potentially on Matthew, and Elite may need to say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to let Matthew battle his own battle because I can't allow a tow for Scyther. We'll have to see. He comes through then the final set selection of corners under the stadium and then heading into the main section, of course, and the final couple of corners before they start their 4th lap. And as it stands at the moment, the FRA boys still holding on, but Matthew under some serious pressure from the American in 3rd.
Yeah, definitely is, and they're on putting each other under pressure. The whole grid is virtually within DRS up to P13. Everyone is within DRS of each other, which just makes it pretty good racing, but it also makes it pretty hard to overtake as well. You see it in real life DRS trains, and it is just as real here in the F1 game. It's pretty hard to overtake someone when that person in front of you has also got DRS.
Bit concerned about what's happening for the Euro Titans boys at the moment. Andrea, 6 seconds worth of penalties now for track extension issues. He's seriously got to find a little bit of rhythm here and get himself going because he's under some serious pressure to try and stay within the track limits. Otherwise, disqualification really could be a problem for him here. FGE Halo gets the fastest lap of this race so far as Wilson has made a move on the Shazoo driver Lacey. He's really not happy at the moment out there at the moment is the Shazoo driver, down to 9.
Yeah, not great from Lacey considering how high up he started, and yeah, it's just important for him now to settle in, yeah, and just try and stick with people and yeah, just get a bit of a rhythm into this race.
Yeah, nonetheless, Wilson actually flying at the moment. He's set the fastest second sector of anyone by quite a long way, just over a 10th. So he's gone faster than Leopard in the second sector by just over a 10th at the moment. So that Wilson really starting to find the pace here as we've lost a driver to a spin out. It's Blackie for ERL, now relegated down to 16th place. And that might just be a real struggle for ERL here. If Batik Fra can hold on, ERL will be able to take their first points of the season. And of course, that would allow potentially a little bit of an issue for ETE, who are yet to set their points up so far, especially with Andrea's time penalties. Passe would hope for a safety car at least to get them back in the mix, so keep an eye out on that one as Kaya De Silva saying Andrea really speed running the penalties at the moment. Again, ratios happening in the chat left, right and centre. 126 if you're tuning in as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just talking about LCR Leopard up into P4, gets him moving VSR Jack, I think into the final corner. I did miss it, but I've seen the end of it. And Leopard up into P4, flying at the moment, and all over the back of, not all over the back, but on the back of Scyther as well. He's used up a good bit of that ERS to make his progress, but the pace is definitely there, and LCR Leopard is definitely one to keep an eye on.
Lacey has been overtaken again, ladies and gentlemen. He is now down to 10th place as the other McLaren driver of M Racer goes very late on the brakes and actually might offer an opportunity for Lacey to get the switch back and actually keep on close proximity. Will get DRS with Wilson, will M Racer, sorry, off of Wilson, but Wilson himself is in a battle here for Batek Fla, down to 8th place as Jack and Tudy for VSR currently battling at the moment. They don't want that to happen. Early on the brakes from Tudy, may have caught Batek Fla a little bit napping there, but Batek Fla able to hold on. He's still around that outside, and that is the ideal position to be in, but it looks like he's going to give the position up, and Wilson up to 7th. The McLarens are really starting to find a bit of rhythm here.
Yeah, great move there from Wilson. It was so close, so nearly contact coming out of turn 9 from Bartek Faz. A bit of contact, a bit of side pod contact with Wilson's side pod, and it's so nearly could have ended up him getting spun around. But yeah, they both done very well to keep it clean, give each other space, and yeah, Wilson managed to reap the benefits and move up into P7.
all of the drivers from P1 all the way down to P12 are currently in a DRS train. So this is now where we start to see people decide what they want to do with their race. Do they want to start making some inroads early, or do they want to hold on? And at the moment, Wilson, very keen to get a bit of a move on, but in doing so, he's hemorrhaging his electrical energy. He's now down to around about 20%. Obviously, he's going to find the time again as the Ferrari of VSR Jack. Very wide again for the second time around that corner. That allowed Chudy initially to go through, but then obviously VSR Jack re-overtaken the other VSR driver. And again, no surprises here. The VSR drivers are hugging each other. This is what we usually see, as what I've seen anyway in my experience in commentating between the team. And they are holding on as we've lost another car. And would you believe, I believe that to be FGE Halo. He's spun coming out of the pits by looks of things.
Yeah, not ideal there from Halo. Just looking at Wilson at the moment. Oh, the back of today and the two Ferraris. Both DSR guys under a little bit of pressure, as you rightfully mentioned earlier on. Wilson is looking very good at the moment, currently sitting in P7, but I think P6 and P5 are on the horizon for the WOR esports driver.
Here's a theory for you. Is VSR Jack braking harder into that corner to recover electrical energy, so then he can get as much electrical energy as he can down the straights, because he is hemorrhaging a lot of electrical energy. Ooh, that's a big tank slapper, well caught from Chudy actually, but that's going to put him under a little bit of pressure versus WR Wilson, as Matthew goes fastest of anyone so far. That might be, as well as his pace, obviously the DRS helping him being behind his teammate Elite, again, who is just holding the pace.
Oh,
and that's a spin out from Matthew, who's spun out, and the FRA team were 1-2 and looking fairly clean, but Matthew, an uncharacteristic error. He's now down. Make that 12th, make that potentially 13th place.
Yeah, excuse my Gary Evans reaction there. Just get such a fright. I did not expect Matthew to make a mistake like that. Such a rookie error from such a top driver. And yeah, that's not ideal. But in terms of this race, if you're referee looking at the FRA Elite, looking from a selfish point of view, this is great news. You've now broken the DRS to the man behind you, 1.6 seconds. And yeah, I think FRA Elite may just take off with this race now.
Well, I'll tell you what, FRA Elite might run away with this one, but PSR and VSR are going to be licking their lips at the moment, because they've got a real opportunity, as will Shazoo actually for that matter, because the LCR Leopard also in the mix as well. As another 3-second time penalty for the AMS team down in 19th place at the moment. They are struggling out there at the moment. LCR Leopard though 3rd place. VSR are going to be getting a very good chunk of points here. 22 of them will be heading their way. 18 will be heading the way of PSR, while only 25 will be heading to FRA as it stands. So FRA, yeah, they've got the quick driver in at the moment at the front, but with that mistake from Matthew, has he potentially cost himself an opportunity to sort of get in the mix and help FRA continue their run? And is that gap going to close up? Keep an eye out on the rest of the field.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out with that yellow flag in Sector 1. Not too sure what that is all about. But Leopard has done a great job to get back on the back of Scyther. Now, just before that, the last lap started was 1.6 seconds he was off Scyther, so a big lap from him there, managing to pull back into that 1 second range of the Williams. As well, that is good news for Jack, because he's just about with 3% ERS and DRS of Leopard as well. But as you mentioned earlier, definitely not a lot of ERS left in that Ferrari.
Just keeping an eye on the battle, what caused that yellow flag, and what was causing that yellow flag was the battle for 19th and 18th place respectively, as Halo and Alex, looks like Alex slowed down to let Halo in front of him so they can have their own battle for 18th at the moment, but as it stands, Alex weaving down the track to just try and warm up his tyres. He's struggling out there, is the AMS driver. Well, let's go back on board again as Sector 3 yellow flags, and it looks like AMS Alex has spun the car as well, and he's at risk actually of being lapped. 8 laps into this 29 lap race here is the AMS driver, so it's not going to be the best fielding unfortunately from the Alien Motorsport crew, as we've got a little bit of an overtake happening, and it looks like between VSR Jack and WR Wilson, Chudy for that matter, has been overtaken, as Alex another 3-second time penalty for his troubles. AMS is struggling, and looks like Wilson is not struggling at all. He is flying high, and his next victim in his eyes will be VSR Jack.
Yeah, he's looking really good at the moment as Wilson. He showed that really early on, and then once again showing it now. I get a bit of a fright there seeing that person with all that behind, but yeah, AMS Alex just getting out of the way there. A slight distraction for the other drivers, as ETE Andrea has retired from the session. He
has retired, and he's retired on as a result of a crash. It was a big smash up as well, actually, and that has officially brought out the safety car for the first time in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And you won't be surprised to hear that that is a big no surprise here for AMS Alex, who's retired in the pit lane, and he has had enough in Alien Motorsport. We're taking nil point tonight. But the safety car is now out. That will bring everyone down into the mix. However, that is a big smile under the helmet, I'm sure, for Scyther, who is now going to be breathing down the neck of FRA Elite.
Yeah, it's probably what he needed a little bit. The ERS wasn't looking good, the pace wasn't looking good in comparison to Elite, and yeah, it just gives him another chance to maybe go at him. I'll be interested to see if he goes for it, if he tries to overtake Elite early on, because you're not going to get many chances in this race. So yeah, maybe try and put him under a bit of pressure, go for a move, or will Scyther just kind of accept that this isn't his battle with Elite tonight and just try and focus on his own race.
With Halo so far back, we are expecting there's got to be at least 3 laps behind the safety car here now, Cal. If you were on the medium tyre, would you risk going onto the hards early on with the idea that you're going to be matching the pace of those in front but you will not need to pit? Or do you stay on these set of medium tyres knowing you will have to pit anyway? The hard tyre runners obviously are going to be going a long way, potentially up to 16 to 19 laps. If you go onto a set of hard tyres now, you're definitely going to be within your pit. You're going to be definitely within their pit window equally when everyone starts to pit, you know, at the end of the safety car period, because that's when the pit window opens for those on the medium tyre. Surely it's an opportunity for those on the medium to come in, and it's certainly an opportunity for those on the hards, weirdly enough. Elite is coming in. Scyther is also going to match the pace of that one, so it will be Shazoo who leads the way, with LCR Leopard going into this one. FRA Elite is coming out of the pits on a set of medium tyres. Scyther, no doubt, will be doing exactly the same thing. The question is anyone going to get caught up in the traffic? No issue for Williams as they now come out of the pit lane, with Scyther and FRA Elite now leaving the pit. So as it stands at the moment, a lot of drivers all electing one to the medium tyre. Are we seeing a 2-stop?
Yeah, I think we probably will see a 2-stop. I'm not too sure, don't honestly quote me on it, but I'd imagine we'll now see medium to soft. This could be completely wrong, but I'd imagine medium soft and maybe medium will be a strategy for the rest of this race. But it's interesting to see. We still did see, we've seen 3 drivers stay out on that hards because they will be like sitting ducks now compared to Elite, Scyther, Jack, all these drivers coming through on the fresh medium tyre. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long Bartek, Fraz, Today and Leopard can remain in that good track position on those slightly older hard tyres.
Brett Norman using the exact words that were just about to come out of my mouth. Remember, if you are a lapped car around Abu Dhabi under the safety car, you are allowed to overtake the safety car and allowed to join at the back of the grid. If you are maybe in a battle with the front 2, you're more than welcome also to overtake the safety car. And if you're not in that battle, you also have to overtake the safety car. I'm not salty, I promise, right? 10 of 29 under the safety car now. Of course, the first safety car, as this is a track that we're expecting the safety car to be a feature of at the moment. As it stands, it is LCR Leopard leading the way, though he has to make a pit stop. Jude and Bartek Fra rounding out the top 3. Now, of course, Elite on the fresh set of medium tyres. They may be quite cold if you think about it, so could be one to watch at the start of this race. How is Elite going to do? Because he's got to get some racing on.
He definitely does, and I think if you're Scyther, this is a great time to pounce. You know, Elite's going to be maybe get a little bit tripped up behind these guys in the hards. This is your time. You get a car in front of them, and then you have first choices trying to pick your way through the traffic. So Scyther, Jack, this is the time to try and be ready and try and catch Elite as he's trying to work his way through these hard compound tyres.
So we're heading down the field then to P14 as FGE Steve has just managed to get to the back of the grid, and FGE have suddenly got their race bike back up and running as he now joins at the back behind the Velox Sam. Velox now in the points as well through Harris, but he has a time penalty to his name. ERL Blackie is the only driver who has pitted to go onto a set of soft tyres under the safety car period, so he is electing to go for a very quick second stint in the option, I assume, to go onto a set of medium tyres to the end, while everyone else will be doing soft medium, either a double medium or a medium soft stint. Although one driver in the chats, I don't know who it was specifically that said the words, but they said that the softs are disgusting if anyone tries that one. I think that was Chandler Sieto who said that comment in the chat. That's a very solid comment. The softs are not very good around here, and I'm assuming that's the desert heat.
Yeah, good insight. Chandler knows the stuff, good driver, so yeah, it's good to know the softs maybe aren't worth it. So yeah, Chandler, Connor, a few other guys thinking that mediums will be going to the end here, which is going to be a stretch, as they also mentioned. So very interested to see how well these guys can manage the tyres, or if they're aware the softs are rubbish, but they're going to commit to them anyway. So yeah, a big strategy call here for these guys, and maybe this is why these hard runners stayed out. Maybe they think the mediums just can't go to the end.
A 19 lap stint and potentially a 20 lap stint for Matthew on a set of medium tyres. That's a bold call. We'll have to see what those drivers do, because surely it's going to be very, very close indeed between those drivers wanting to do that one. Let's keep an eye out then on how the bottom two are catching up at the moment, as Levi on the fresh set of soft tyres looking to try and catch the back of the grid. I believe we're going to be behind the safety car for at least another lap as it stands, with the drivers all just trying to connect to the back of the grid. It looks to me as if they're keeping it, should we say, steady to the back, so then they can at least have another lap round the safety car, and of course especially Levi, who would like to make these softs last as long as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Just reading the chat there, the World Online Racing account says punctures for everyone and a FGE Halo win. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see that one happen.
Oh,
yeah,
no, we've got another one pitting as well. Levi's coming into the pits, and I suspect he's come off a set of softs, hasn't he? So then he can then now go on a set of hards to the end of the race.
Yeah, it's very smart thinking from these guys, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well this plays out, how good these hards will be compared to... Oh, it's medium tyres then, never mind, that's completely thrown.
No, I apologise, it's medium tyres and a pit and a front wing change.
A wing change.
As well, so clearly needs a new front wing, but he is going to be doing a 3-stop, will the PSR driver, as he now leaves the pits in the Williams. So, final lap behind the safety car then, and FRA Elite, the man that we're expecting to take the victory here tonight, is down in 4th place. He is leading those who have pitted onto the fresh set of medium tyres, but he has to get some racing done, and let's be frank here, this is esports racing. They're not going to easily give the position up.
Yeah, of course not. And it's yeah, you don't get an easy position in this type of racing, this high level of racing. So yeah, every single overtake is going to have to be hard fought. You're going to have to think about it before. You can't just send a silly move up the inside, because at this level, at this kind of how quick these drivers are and how savvy they are, we've just turned in. So, and I'm sure these drivers, I'm sure people like Elite are more than aware of this. This is no idea what we're talking about here. So yeah, safety cars in this lap. I'll be interested to see how quickly and how efficiently Elite, Scyther and all the other guys on these mediums can pick their way through the hard compound runners.
Levi will be on the blower very quickly to try and get to the back of the grid. He's just about to get there, as LCR Leopard will lead the drivers. Now the front three have all elected to stay on the set of hard tyres that they of course started the race on, so they're going to be hoping that these tyres will last to their end of their stint, which would be at around about lap 20, I'd suspect, for a set of medium tyres to the end of this race. But of course they've got very quick medium tyre runners ahead who may end up getting into a scrap themselves, and that may end up causing some half spins, and that might put the likes of FRA Elite, Scyther and Jack under some pressure, as well as of course a very fast McLaren of Wilson. Leopard then decides to go very early here as he comes through the final corner, and then of course as it comes across the start finishing line, we will go green again here in Abu Dhabi, and it is a really good start already from FRA Elite, who's trying to go around that outside line on the medium tyre, late on the brakes, hits his apex perfectly, and now up to P3. His next victim will be looking to try and make a move potentially on Tuesday, while Scyther really wants to get his shift on versus Bartek Pro, who's really struggling on these hard tyres. Look like they're not really warmed up to the potential temperature. No doubt Scyther's going to go for the dive down this inside line. He needs to get the move done, because FRA Elite has already made a move on Tudy, but Tudy's had the better exit, and look at Tudy, he's putting some pressure on the FRA driver. He's now back in front on the hard tyres, but they're racing side by side down the straight, and he's going to have to go around the outside here. But look at LCR Leopard, who might block the entry potentially around the outside, and what a move from FRA Elite to go around the outside and hit the apex absolutely perfectly. He's still on, and he's up to P2. Scyther already wants to make the move as the American driver is trying to get past Judy ASAP, but the BSR driver is clearly showing his intentions. He does not want to give up positions easily, but he goes down that inside line, and Scyther makes the move no problem at all, as WR Wilson is still looking here. But look at VSR Jack, he's already keeping the pressure on those medium tyres on Scyther. VSR looking very sharp here.
Yeah, medium's looking very sharp here as well, and wow, great lap there from Scyther. It's so important to make sure he's still within that car's length of Elite here, because you can see Elite is virtually pushing Leopard around here, and that's no fault of Leopard. Those hard tyres are just not up for it anymore. The mediums are so much quicker, and Scyther is in a good position here to try and get two cars into one corner, because Elite is going to make this move pretty soon.
Fastest lap of this race actually coming out of the safety car period as well, so what a cracking lap indeed from FRA Elite, who's looking to try and get as close as he possibly can to LCR Leopard, but you expect the move is surely going to be done going into the corner so he can take the DRS after the overtake is already done. Here he comes already. Look how quick he is coming out of that corner. Around the outside, he's going to have to go here if he wants to get this one done. And as it stands at the moment, LCR Leopard just holding on around that outside line, but the Mercedes has got that one covered, and the Mercedes will now leave it. LCR Leopard is still wanting to put pressure on the Mercedes, but the Mercedes is showing his intentions. That inside line is mine, you can't have it. But the Red Bull still wants to try and go down the inside. That's going to be close. And here comes Scyther. Look at this around the outside, and Scyther has just decided, I'm going to get involved in this battle between these two, and now he leads this race prematurely, and PSR are going to be screaming.
Wow, what a move, but it's just not over yet. Elite, he's used all the race, he's used everything. He is not happy about that one. Round out, heading into turn 9, but Cypher, he's got to come off.
Back, what a move!
He's got it. Oh, wow, up in the P1. And for the Elite, take a bow. What a move.
He's going to keep hold on. Here comes Scyther. He's going to go down the inside line. He chooses not to go for that battle round here, but he could keep it steady. But he is so quick on the accelerator pedal as FRA Elite, and that is only, I can see there, look at the grip he's got going around the corner. So much confidence as that FRA driver and the Veloce Academy driver has got, as he then goes into that final corner. Scyther's late on the brakes, but he's going to be not so early on the accelerator pedal, and here comes the FRA driver, but Wilson with the fastest lap of this race on those medium tyres. The hard tyres completely switching off. LCR Leopard has clearly had a half spin. He's down to 11th place at the moment, as the other hard drivers are Bartek Fra in 8th place. Chude is in 4th. He's holding on quite well at the moment as VSR Jack retires in the pit lane. The VSR driver has had enough on the set of medium tyres. Very interesting stuff. So VSR now down to 1 driver.
Yeah, just to mention, Chude doing really well on these hard tyres. He's giving it everything he's got, but he is doing really, really well. I'm surprised considering you look at the guys like Leopard and also I think it was Black as well on the hard tyres. He's done a much, much better job.
So it looks like the situation that happened, the reason why Jack has retired in the pit lane is because him and Leopard had a collision. And that's the reason as to why Jack is left and Leopard is down in P11 at the moment. So disappointing stuff there between VSR and Shazoo. Here comes Scyther. He's still getting in close proximity to the Mercedes, but the Mercedes around this part of the circuit is where it is his best. But Scyther, again, as we saw in the last race, seriously keeping that pressure on.
Yeah, definitely is, and he has to, and I think we might just see him go for it pretty soon, because I think with all the respect to Cypher, does he have the pace to keep up? Maybe he does, and maybe I'm kind of selling him a disservice here. We've got a yellow flag in
it's a big
3.
collision.
Not too sure.
We've got a horrendous collision that's happened between Velox and Bartek Ferrari. It looks like ERL and Velox have had a pretty horrific collision between those drivers. Oh, and a spin out as well from the other ERL driver, Blackie, who's had an awful spin out as well. It looks like people are starting to overheat their tyres. Blackie on the soft tyres. Have they fallen off the cliff already? And to be fair to Chandler Seata in the chat, he absolutely pointed out the soft tyres are horrible. 5 laps in and people are already spinning.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. It's a shame as well in the midfield, all getting a little bit scrappy there. But listen, I'm going to just quickly move our attention to the battle for P1 Cypher, just about within DRS of Elite. He's going to have to use a little bit of DRS here if he wants to put any sort of pressure coming into turn 6 and turn 7. But it looks like he's just happy to sit in the DRS and just happy to look in the rear of Elite.
Yeah, just going back on board with Scyther at the moment, who's trying to get close here. He's so late on the brakes, his Scyther, but his acceleration out of corners is just not that matching of Elite at the moment. Look at that going out the corner, and the Mercedes just pulling away so quickly, and this is just almost inspiring to look how quickly on the accelerator pedal and how sort of quick Elite is at the moment. But Scyther is able to pull a bit closer on the straights here, and it's making me wonder, is he got the lower downforce setup? And I hope to God he hasn't got 0-0 wings.
Oh, you never know in this game. I've seen crazier things than that. Just looking as well, ET pass it, getting up into P11 on those medium compounded tyre. Bartek Fraz definitely falling back on these guys on the hard tyres, not having a good time with it anymore.
Yeah, really struggling at the moment on those hard tyres. Surely they are going to be coming in at some point. Total Impact Esports Network, hello to yourself, sir. Nice to have you on board with us here on this race here. This is round number 2 of the WRLD, and if you are just tuning in, where have you been? It's been a really intense qualifying and an intense race between these drivers as qualifying lap times coming in. 26.2 for Levi Asbet, was just absolutely flying high at the moment for the Williams team. That is PSR in 8th place, and of course Cypher in 2nd place at the moment. Now FRA Matthew is just in the background. He's just buying his time for the FRA team. Down in 4th, he thinks a podium is potentially still on the cards, but he's certainly got the pace versus Wilson at the moment. This second stint for Wilson not been as sharp as his first, but look at Matthew's ERS. He's not even in the 10%. He's struggling out there.
No, definitely is. He's giving it his all, but so are all these drivers. Wilson's not getting much left either. Same with Matthew, obviously, and Harris as well, underneath that 20% as well. So yeah, every single driver out there giving it their all, and they've given it everything they've got. ERS management, is a very, very important factor in this, but you'd usually see around about the 330 kilometres range going into this corner here, and you can see down to 315 kilometres per hour for the Mercedes, who is just struggling out there at the moment, as VLX each getting 3-second penalties a pop for their troubles, and that's obviously something they need to manage at the moment. A lot of drivers currently struggling out there at the moment with the track limits situation. As we go back onto the helicopter shot, and you can see there the time for WR Wilson. He's just thinking maybe Scyther and Elite are flying high at the moment. Wilson
is out there in a little bit of a no man's land as he's just carrying Matthew. Velox, Harris as well. Velox have come out of nowhere with their current situation, but of course that time penalty on Harris's cards at the moment is not helping him. Leopard finally in the pits to get off of those hard tyres. He is really struggling on those hards, but he is going to be mighty quick on the set of mediums that I suspect that the Shizou driver is going to be going on.
Yeah, definitely. Just like quickly mentioned Effery, Matthew, what a great drive he has so far. He had that spin fairly early on. He dropped well outside the points, and then you have it up into P5 now and pressure for a podium. So yeah, the Mercedes man is doing a great job out there at the moment.
Penalty situation across the board at the moment. It's 3 seconds for Harris, 3 for Levi, 6 for Sam, 3 for Leopard, and 3 for Blackie at the moment. Those drivers obviously all having to manage their pace as well surrounding that one. And by the way, a big shout out to Levi at the moment in the other Williams for PSR. 3-stop strategy for him at the moment in 8th place as it stands for him, and up 2 positions as well. But so far, driver of the day performance gotta go to Velox. Harris up 10 positions and on for 10 points as it stands. Cracking race from the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, it certainly has. Well, because for the DNS at the moment, they're coming under pressure for like to be and let's get behind them, but definitely I have to echo a great drive from him. So far, just briefly as well, looking at the battle up front, Cypher is doing a very good job to stick with Elite at the moment. 30% ERS to the name of Cypher and 24 for F3 Elite. So yeah, Cypher definitely giving Elite a run for his money at the moment.
So Matthew now getting into the DRS situation with WOR Wilson, as is Scyther with Elite still holding on to DRS at the moment. Is Scyther. What a run it's been so far from the American, who's really keeping Elite on his toes here, as we have a half spin out unfortunately from FGE Steve, who now relegated down to the back of the grid in 16th place at the moment. FRA Matthew getting closer and closer to Wilson at the moment, but Wilson is hitting his lines very nicely. Slight miss of the apex for Matthew, but not going to cause him any problems at the moment, and he's a bit more, I think, on a bit of an ERS management situation here for the next at least 5 laps. We can put some pressure on that McLaren, who is flying at the moment, as is the other McLaren, who's just made the overtake on VLX Harris. Only 9 positions gained for Harris now, but certainly a great performance indeed from the Velox driver. He has to defend from Shizou, and then PSR in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, definitely, but it's not the end of the world now for Harris. That 10% ERS wasn't looking good, so if he can get in the rhythm now and make sure he can stay in the DRS of Racer, it could be looking good, because I think maybe that DRS will just give him a little bit of a helping hand now.
Big shout out as well to people in the chats who are just monitoring the situation as well, and people just having a quick conversation as well as the situation that's happening as regards of the Matt Torley as well. I think it's a VLX driver, Torley, isn't it? He is just making note of the fact that many people got caught in the pits, and to be fair, we did point out Matthew pitted 1 lap earlier, before the lap before the safety car came out, so everyone was stuck in the pits whilst he just overtook everyone, so that obviously helped his case to get back up to P4, and now in a serious possibility of being able to maybe get a podium position and a double podium for FRA, and that'd be a good bounce back considering the spin he had as well, as you pointed out as well. It was a little bit of a rookie error.
Yeah, definitely was, and I was just looking at the chat reaction. Obviously, it was something Matthew maybe hit a little bit too often, and he would like, and people went too surprised when they spun, unfortunately for Matthew, but he's done very good. He's good, has good composure, good character, that to come back and have done a great job at the moment, and yeah, full credits go to him for the drive so far.
Let's go back on board to the front battle at the moment between Scyther and FRA Elite. Obviously, the recently promoted driver to the academy over at Veloce, and he is under a little bit of pressure. But look at that tank slapper from Scyther, who's just managed to hold on. But he's definitely put himself under pressure now, and potentially he wants to try and take the victory out of Elite's hands here. But he's not going to be able to do it with mistakes like that one.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but it's, I've seen much today. I think Matthew could say he's seen much as well. So yeah, at least Scyther's kept that well on the track and still definitely in the DRS of Elite. Doing a great job at the moment, doing much better than what I thought he would, as FGE Steve going for his about 3rd spin in about 1 lap. But yeah, just back on the Scyther, doing a great job at the moment. ERS looking good, pace is looking good, and yeah, I think he might probably give Elite a bit more of a challenge than what the F-Frame man would have been hoping for.
Yeah, keep an eye out on that little battle happening over the next 8 laps as we cross over into the 21st of 29 laps here in Abu Dhabi. And that race win is definitely not completely over and done with, but a very poor final corner from Scyther has put himself under a lot of pressure here because he's out of DRS now, and I expect that there's going to be a bit of ERS management here, ERS usage, to try and get himself back into the DRS. And there it is, look, overtake. Is he going to get DRS? He is not going to get DRS on this occasion, I don't think. We'll have to see. Oh, he might do, actually. We'll see what he does. Oh, it's again in tank slapper. He is pushing really really hard at the moment is the PSR driver, and he does get DRS, but look, he is just breaching here, and FRA Elite is now beginning his push now for the next 8 laps, and that is only going to offer opportunities for Scyther here, who is now beginning to use his ERS, and he's now down off all that ERS management. He's lost half of it. It's Bartek Frog getting past the lap of the race down in P14.
Yeah, Ferry Elite is definitely stretching his legs now, isn't he? And it's just keeping Scyther on his toes, but he's done well there. But now 0.3 of a second, that gap has went down. So with a little bit of ERS usage, of course, coming to turn 9, very close from the 2 on there. That's the closest we've probably seen them since that pretty good battle we had all those laps ago.
Really important battle happening here as well with P9 and P10 as FGE looking to get their another point on the case here, and he will be at the moment with a couple of points as it stands with P9 as the hero of the moment, Halo, down in 9th place with Passy in 10th, and there's been a collision and the safety car has come out again with 8 laps to go in this race. Big controversial circumstance because FGE Steve has got involved in a collision, looks like at the wall coming out of the pits, or at least coming across the pit lane exit, and that has brought the safety car out. And ladies and gentlemen, and those who don't identify, it's surely going to be soft. Oh, what's happened here? I'm not sure what's happened here, but it looks to me as we've got a bit of a situation with FRA Elite. Scyther's got a 5-second penalty to my name. Apparently he's come out. I'm very confused. He came into the pits. He was on medium. Whoa, that McLaren just flying by. I'm not sure what's going on here, but we've got a few situations, I think, with a bit of desync happening here, which is really a bad time at the moment for people to come out here. FGE Halo staying out on the hard tyre. He's in 3rd. No, he's surely going to have to hold on to 3rd. He can't overtake Scyther. Surely not. He stays in 3rd. Right. Very interesting scenario. After all of that desync, this is the scenario. Elite and Scyther are on soft tyres. Halo, the FGE hero, is staying out on a set of hard tyres. And then you've got Wilson and M-Racer 4th and 5th. Lacey and then Levi and then Harris and Passy and Chudy in the top 10 on soft tyres. Leopard and Sam and Bartek Farr on soft tyres as well. No doubt Blackie and Matthew coming in as well for a set of soft tyres. This is a heroic effort from FGE. If they want to take some big points here, he surely can't hold on hard tyres versus everyone on softs. I mean, last time we saw that one, I better not talk about that actually.
Oh, that's a tough one for some people watching, but yeah, it's going to need a hell of a lot of passion from FGE Halo if you want to see any sort of points. But just briefly on Scyther, I think I was watching on board with him going out to pit lane. Elite slowed slightly more than he did, and there's a lot, so marginal contact, as in you wouldn't have even noticed it. So marginal contact, and there you go, you got the 5-second and stop go penalty. I'm not sure they're on the league, but I'd imagine that would get removed. So yeah, I don't think that should play too much of a part to the overall result.
Damn straight, I think would be the word from a few people who are just saying that some great coding from Codemasters and EA surrounding the situation. I think a lot of people, FRA Matthew has disconnected from this race. He's down in P15 and he is out of this race by the sounds of things as well. It doesn't look like he's going to be continuing on with this race unless it's a disconnection. We are in the 22nd of 29 laps. It looks like FRA in the end are only going to get one driver over the line. FGE trying to be the heroes of the moment as it stands with the Halo at the moment on hard tyres that are 15 laps old versus everyone else on fresh soft tyres. As it stands though, Scyther and Elite going to continue on with their intense battling throughout this entire race here. Answers on a postcard, £5. Are you still confident that £5 is on your head at the moment, Cal?
Not as confident as I was at the start of the stream, but yeah, I think he's definitely still in a good position to win this race. Just briefly as well, I want to go on his teammate, Effery Matthew. He got stuck in the pit lane. A bit of a glitch there from Codemasters, and that's a real shame. He's on for a great race, and yeah, that's a sore one, as I'm going to just try and get him back into the lobby now.
Well, fingers crossed we can get him back into the lobby. I do believe he has reconnected, and he has actually back in his car by the looks of things, as he is now, well, looking to make some inroads and try and get the scraps of points, I think, for FRA now at the moment. But the licking of the lips, certainly, for the McLarens at the moment. WOR Wilson and M Racer, correct me if I'm wrong, that would be WOR Mixer, it would be WOR in the McLarens. They're going to be earning some big points tonight versus everyone else at the moment. It's going to be a solid 22 points, though Elite will stretch the gap. It's only going to be 3 points as it stands with FRA, because of course the other driver down in 15th after a potential glitch that's seen him get stuck in the pit lane, and that is no surprise considering all of the desync that happened. We saw people disconnecting everywhere. Now I've got no doubt that 5-second penalty on Scyther's head is going to get removed, because to me it looked like what had happened is that Elite and Scyther had come into the pit lane, everything was fine, and then Elite respawned on the track, as did Scyther at exactly the same time, and a collision happened under the safety car. That's what I think happened. I might be completely wrong, but if that is the case, that 5-second penalty is not going to hold up, and I've got no doubt PSR are going to be flagging a massive red flag against that one.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be too many complaints from the FRA side of it, from the steward side of it. I think anyone watching the 5-second penalty for Scyther will not make a difference to the outcome of this race. The safety car's on this lap, 6 laps to go. It should be a good finish to this race.
That's a late call because FRA Matthew is still well down the field here, and I think he's pitted under the assumption the safety car would not be coming in, but the safety car is now apparently coming in, so Matthew definitely going to be out of this race. He's 1 minute and 6 seconds back on everyone else here, so Elite will run the show here, and a very late call, and surely everyone's soft tyres are going to be fairly cold as well. He goes through that final corner then, does Elite, and he'll set off as we go green again here in Abu Dhabi, and here comes Halo, who's actually putting a little bit of pressure here on holding Wilson back, and Wilson surely going to want to get the move done here, as he's going to try and make the move. Surely he's going to have to get the move done early, but the Aston Martin is still holding on, as the Wilson is going to go around the outside. Oh, there's a slight tap. He's still got to get past FGE Halo at the moment, as the Aston Martin surely is going to get overtaken going into this corner. He leaves the gap wide open, does the FGE driver, as he's trying to scrap for points here, and the other WOR driver now making it 25 points between the pair of them at the moment. To Shazoo Lacey also trying to get in this mix here, as it looks like Halo is just going to hold on here using the toe of the McLarens in front, but look at Levi as well, the other PSR driver looking to make some inroads. Oh, that's a bit of a collision. That's very late on the brakes as well from the Aston Martin. I believe, sorry, the Red Bull there of LCR Leopard, and it looks like we've got a bit of a half spin. It looks like M Racer.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Halo that actually made the contact and sent the McLaren round. But just look at this, Levi going side by side with Lacey coming into turn 9. They got who can take it. Is it Williams or the Red Bull? Red Bull going round the outside. He's used every bit of track he can get. Can they get the move done as it came out the corner? It's nearly a 3-wide game. It's now the Aston Martin as well with the Halo on the hard tyres coming into trouble now.
Oh, there's a collision!
Contact as well, and that is not good for Shazoo Lacey there. It's once again Halo making some more contact with another driver.
Oh, that's Shazoo now really going to be losing buckets of points here. Saw that end flap of the front wing just disappearing and flying into the stands. That is him out of the running. Scyther, faster lap on that last occasion, and that's going very wide again for another driver. I believe that might be M Racer again. I'm not sure. Someone went very wide, and there is Lacey coming into the pit lane. I believe that is his race over. So Shazoo going to be scrapping for points here with Velox Sam at the moment down in P9, P10, and of course ERL want to get their first points on the board, and they're in 11th to 12th, so they're going to be fighting hard at the moment. But Scyther still putting all that pressure on FRA Elite. There's 4 laps to go. Is he going to put a challenge on FRA Elite? He might do so here. Is he going to put his name in the lights? Is he going to put his name in for first place? Is he going to hold on? He is looking around the outside. Elite's going to close the gap. He's going to squeeze, but the American is keeping it steady. Oh, and the safety car's out again. The safety car is out again, and I believe that is from an incident that has happened. I'm not sure, but it looks to me as maybe there's some debris on the circuit, and that might have brought the safety car out again, and that's allowed Matthew to come into the pits now for a fresh set of medium tyres and join at the back here. And I'm a bit unsure what's going on, but we've got 4 laps to go. Surely the safety car's only going to be out for the single lap.
Yeah, probably will. It was for ETE Passy. I'm not too sure if that's exactly what it was for, but I was watching it. If anyone wondered why I was making strange noises, that was why. Once again, Halo, those hard tyres causing chaos, and Passy a bit of contact with a driver in front, and he loses it on the exit, and he went straight into the wall, losing his front wing, and I'm surprised he wasn't out of the race. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what the safety car was for, and then yeah, I'm not surprised. There's a lot of contact there, and a lot of damage being spread around that track.
So we have got the safety car's definitely in at the end of this lap. There's absolutely no doubt about it, but it's all about what that restart now. Are these drivers going to be able to cope with the situation that's going to happen in front of them? Because, of course, they're going to be on fairly fresh soft tyres. If they can't keep them warm on this cooldown lap, it's going to be a real bitter scenario for some people out there. Keep an eye out on the likes of the midfield. Shazoo are going to be wanting to take big points. It's an opportunity here for Leopard, opportunity for VLX as well. They may get some big points here as well through Sam. Harris is going to want to try and hold on. He's got that 3-second penalty to his name, as remember, as well. And keep an eye out on Scyther. That 5-second penalty, in my opinion, is not going to hold up. He surely should be losing that. So he's definitely still in this race for the race victory here.
Yeah, another thing as well, at CWR, Wilson, we never got to see how good his pace was in the softs, kind of due to Halo and those harbs causing chaos. So let's see. Wilson in P3 also not got a penalty, just like the top 3. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And rightfully, just a good point to put out there. World Online Racing with a great comment. There'll be no DRS, I don't think, anymore in this race.
No DRS. It's all about pure pace as well. Before we get going here, Prime Abu Dhabi, says Joseph. Absolutely, it certainly is. Also, worth making a very brief note as well. Levi, remember, he served a drive-through penalty at the beginning of this race for Jumpstart.
Wow.
And he's also done a 4-stop race. And he's in 4th place. What a race it has been from Levi for PSR. Joint driver of the day, surely, with VLX Harris. They've been absolute superstars for their teams this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's full credit to them. It's so easy to give up, especially in a lobby like this. There's some big names, some very talented drivers from top to bottom, and get a drive through so early on. And to be fourth, obviously 3 laps to go, a lot to go, and still a lot to do, I should say, for Levi. But yeah, it's been incredible. 26 laps so far for Levi. So let's just hope he can bring home some good points.
Surely
for
the
his team.
safety car is going to be coming in at the end of this lap. We'll keep an eye out on what's happening with FGE Halo as well. The hero is trying to make these hard tyres last. No, the safety car surely is he staying out? It is staying out. We are having another lap behind the safety car. That is really surprising. So we're going to have it's going to be a 2-lap dash as it stands to the end of this race here. And I'm wondering if we're still waiting for FRA and Matthew to get to the back of the grid here, so then he can get into this race and try and get some points in for FRA. And that's the reason why we're waiting. I am certainly keeping my eyes open for what's happening around the field on that one. For those that are wondering, whilst we're just under the safety car period, WOR of course will return next week in the usual times on Friday at 7 o'clock, and we are moving from Abu Dhabi just a little bit over the pond to Bahrain next week. So keep an eye out on that one. Of course, it will be, I believe it will be myself actually on that one as well. I'm looking forward to that race if this one has got anything to go by. So hope you can tune in for that one as we are just following the safety car again on lap 27 of 29. We're just waiting for FRA and Matthew to get to the back, and we're going to go racing for a 2-lap dash to the end of this race. FRA Elite has got the pace. Scyther's 5-second penalty surely will not stand. Wilson has been impeccable in that McLaren for WOR. Those 3 drivers certainly in the mix for this victory here. Is your £5 still confident though, Cal?
I think I'm going to be even less confident than I was 5 laps ago, because I think it's looking very close. But no, DRS is going to be huge, and that is going to be a big favour for FRA Elite, because it just means if he can get a good restart, it could be looking good. Scyther has to be on the ball now on this restart.
Let's focus on this one. The safety car is coming in. We're going around turn 9. Elite is going to want to let this one last as long as possible so he can get those tyres warmed up. And of course, those behind are going to keep their tyres as warm as possibly can as well. He's already pulling a big gap on Scyther as well. He might actually be quite keen to get this one going. We're going to have a 2-lap dash to the end of this race. Answers on a postcard, folks. Who you think your victory is going to be here tonight? FRA Elite showing the pace all the way through. He will not get the Grand Slam as it stands, because he does not have the fastest lap, but he will get the race victory as it stands. We'll see how he does then coming across that final couple of corners, the penultimate corner, and then into the final corner. It's a 2-lap dash to the end, ladies and gentlemen, and those who I don't identify, we go green again here in Abu Dhabi, and it is a really good start from FRA Elite and Scyther as well, who's just flying high in that Williams at the moment, who's going to want to try and keep the pressure on if he can. Oh, that's a little bit of a tank slapper though, well caught from FRA Elite, and that's actually going to put a little bit of pressure on him going into turns 4, 5, 6, and then he's going to want to keep it steady if he can. WR Wilson looks like he's just trying to reconciliate P3 at the moment. Those behind him have got time penalties, so you can't blame the WR driver for not wanting to get involved in this one, but Scyther is going to want to keep the pressure on. He doesn't have DRS, he won't have DRS, but he's going to have the tow, and he's got the electrical power in the Mercedes power unit in the back of that Williams, and he's trying to hold on here, and there's a little bit of a battle happening for P4 as Levi's trying to hold on from the Velox driver of P5, Harris, having an absolute blinder of a race, and a very good entry, and a good exit from Scyther as well. He is keeping that pressure on FRA Elite. This race is certainly not over.
It definitely is not. And here you have it. Scyther coming all over the back of Elite, now coming round the outside. But Elite, once again, he's got the inside. Surely he's going to have that one covered off. And there you have it. Scyther's first attempt is pretty comfortably blocked off by FRA Elite.
He's going to try and keep it around the outside, though he's surely not going to go to the inside here. It's very dangerous to go for a move here as we've got a spinning car. CTE and Passy has spun out. That's his race over and done with. We're heading around the final set of corners before we start the final lap of this race. Remember, that 5-second penalty on Scyther's name surely should not keep up. So he's still well within the proximity of this race here. And as we've got more people spinning in, it looks like we've got a big collision towards the back between Lacey and M Racer, as Halo is trying to make some inroads down in P14 at the moment. I don't know what's happening towards the back, but we'll keep an eye on the battle that's happening between Scyther and Elite at the moment, who is flying in that Mercedes. But as it stands at the moment, he is going to be keeping on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, on Scyther, it's huge now to get a good hairpin now. He really has to set up an attack on Elite now, because it's now all never. Last lap of the race, there's no better time to do it. But once again, no DRS at Elite. He's going to be leaving, and then both of them giving it everything they've got.
Looking behind, you can see weaving across the circuit, trying to break the toe, but he's trying to offer the opportunity for Scyther if he keeps making mistakes around as what he did on the previous lap. Did Elite, he didn't look comfortable, and he's still not looking comfortable going into corners, but he's looking so much more comfortable coming out of them, and he's out of ERS now. Is Scyther, he's down 3, 2, and 1, and I believe he's out of electrical energy now, is the American, and it looks to me as FRA Elite, and your £5 is going to be well deep in your pockets here, Cal, as it stands at the moment, but that battle is still happening around the midfielders. Harris with a 3-second time penalty. Chude might be in the mix for P4 as it stands with the moment with that 3-second time penalty on Velox's case, but nonetheless a good performance from Velox in the midfield as they get 5th and 8th as it stands. ERL will be getting their first points, as will ETE as well, as far as I'm aware, as we go around the final sets of corners here. FRA Elite has had to challenge hard, and he's had to be challenged hard to keep on to this victory here, but he will win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with Scyther second place. Surely he will hold on to second place nonetheless, with Wilson in second place. Apparently going to make that third. Tudy will be in fourth with Velox Harris. What a performance from VLX. They're in fifth with Levi in sixth place for PSR. Bartek Fla for seventh. ERL get their first points on the board. Shazoo will take eighth with Sam getting Velox points as well, and ETE will get their first points as well as Euro Titans. Everyone now on the board.
Oh wow, what a race that was. FRA Elite, everything was thrown at him today. He must have thought he couldn't get a break with those safety cars, but there you have it, the best of the best, and he managed to just hang on. It was a great drive from him. Scyther, it's full credit to him as well. He gave it everything he got from start to finish. He really put the pressure on, but unfortunately today just wasn't his day.
Fantastic performance indeed from all of the drivers across the field on that Abu Dhabi race. We'll then go through, of course, to the podium ceremonies where we will see the man, the myth, the upcoming legend that is himself indeed FRA Elite taking the top step of the podium, and he will be the victor here tonight in Abu Dhabi. Great performance indeed, of course, from the rest of the field as well. Scyther surely will be holding on to P2 in the end, so WR Wilson will take P3 from the VSR driver of Levi in fourth place indeed. So let's take a very quick look then at those final standings, and of course they're very, very provisional indeed. FRA Elite will take the victory here tonight. Wilson and Chudy technically second and third, but I expect the 5-second penalty on Scyther's case to be removed because that is, I think, best described as BS, to be honest with you. Harris in 5th place with Levi in 6th. Bartek Fla in 7th place. What a performance from ERL to get their first points on the board. Shazoo will be happy with 8th place as well. They get themselves their, some really good points as they need them at the moment. Velox in 9th, and ETE will finally get some points on the board as well from 16th place on the grid. Great performance from Passe. M-Racer in the end just missing out on the points. Stills at WOR Mick with Matthew for FRA down in 12th place. An unfortunate glitch sees him fall down the order with Lacey in 13th and Blackie down in 14th place. Down in 15th place, of course, is Halo. He tried to make those hard tyres last, but it just did not work, and he couldn't be the hero, could Halo. He finishes down in 15th with Steve in 16th, Jack 17th, Andrea in 18th, and Alex all DNFing from this race down in 19th.
Yep, I have invited to your podium sitters, but obviously I'm not in so much favour with them because none of them have joined. I also just like to mention a random fact of the night. I think we only had 2 teams scoring double points. I think that was the Williams and the Alfa Romeo. So there you have it. It's a bit of a topsy-turvy night for all of these teams and all of these drivers. And yeah, Abu Dhabi round here definitely delivered.
So fingers crossed we'll be able to have people join us on this event here, because it has been a fantastic race indeed from those drivers, as we will hopefully get to hear from at least a couple of the drivers after what has been a very intense race as we just cross over to 9 o'clock over here in the United Kingdom. A very brief rundown then in the end. 3 safety cars in the end, 1 very last minute. Really mixed things up, but Elite flying high.
Yeah, he certainly was flying high like he does all the time, and yeah, it was close tonight. It wasn't as dominant. It was as dominant as we've seen in some other races, but yeah, he had control of it. Didn't he? Really, Scyther didn't have too much with it. He always had a moment here or there. They had that incredible battle in the middle of the race, but other than that, Scyther couldn't really challenge, and Elite really had it under control.
So all those drivers will be very, very happy indeed with the performance, I think, of everyone, regardless of where they finish, because it was a cracking race indeed to bring the entertainment to WORLD. Hopefully we will get in touch with at least someone from that race indeed. But you rightfully point out, FRA Elites was not as dominant as we expected to be in that race. Scyther really, really put the pressure on him, and he needed to hold on, and he just managed to hold on in the end for that race victory tonight. But that is going to be big question marks raised here for FRA. Their star driver is getting the wins, but they're not comprehensive.
Yeah, definitely, and it'll be interesting to see come the races now. Can Cypher take a bit of positivity out of that? I know he never got the win tonight, but he can definitely take a lot. The pace was there for Cypher. He was keeping it with Elite, not too hard for him either. He was keeping it on the track. He was keeping it out of any penalties and things like that. So yeah, I think a lot of drivers can take some real positive results from tonight, and yeah, really good race all round.
Again, we will continue to wait, so hopefully someone will be able to speak to us, because we'd love to hear the words of someone from that race, because it was a seriously intense race, and hopefully more invitations have been sent out to try and get these guys in, because I'd love to hear the words of the podium sitters as it stands at the moment. So I think it would be a bit of a shot in the foot, maybe a little bit, for the PSR driver Levi, because I think the podium is going to be taken off him when Scyther gets his 5-second penalty removed. We'll have to see what happens on that one, but nonetheless, absolutely impeccable race. Again, that doesn't suggest here that Elite has got this one covered. We're going to look forward to the next race, which of course is just a hop over in the Middle East to Bahrain, and a completely different circuit, of course, more one leaning on the pad as well. It's a very pad leaning circuit that is offering maybe those down the order who haven't got a wheel an opportunity to get some big points.
Yep, certainly. You look how close the grid was so tonight. So when you look at maybe a track where it is your favourite, maybe if you're on the controller, as you mentioned, Bahrain historically is good on the controller. So yeah, you made a really good point there. We'll be interested to see. Will we have a little bit of a different grid compared to this week? You never know. There's maybe even drivers that are placed in this roster just for tracks like Bahrain, just for these kind of traction-dominated tracks. So yeah, Bahrain will be really interesting next week.
So, questions gone out. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're able to speak to someone eventually at some point. So I'll keep saying that as we try to look forward again to Bahrain. Obviously, it's a very, very interesting circuit indeed. I'm expecting that it's going to be very intense, especially for the likes of Velox, because I know Velox have got a few pad players in their team, and they've got some big points at a track that maybe didn't suit them. So, I mean, very, very good performance from them. Are we expecting something magical from them, and are we going to see them climb up the rankings a little bit come Bahrain?
Yeah, definitely. I just got a message from Wilson there. He's not joining the interview, so that's 1 down, 3 to go, 2 to go, unfortunately. So it doesn't look like they're going to be joining us tonight, but nonetheless, they definitely put on a good show for us.
Yeah, no, it's a shame. I'm sure that obviously the guys are very extremely busy moving on to that one anyway, so obviously no interviews here tonight. So what we'll do is we will leave you with what has been a very, very interesting race. Hopefully you can tune in next week. It will be myself. Hopefully Cal will be alongside me again, maybe for the next race as well, as we do head over to Bahrain. From myself and the rest of the team here at WOR Legacy Division, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time at 7 o'clock, the usual time on a Friday night. Bye-bye for now.